What's up, guys? Regiment in this podcast is brought to you by G Fuel, the ultimate energy drink for gamers. G Fuel uses a special blend of vitamins, antioxidants, and other natural caffeine resources to keep you from having those jitters or even that crash that you normally would have from other energy drink brands. So whether you're having a long gaming session or you're just having a long day and need a pick-me-up, G Fuel definitely has you covered. G Fuel also has a website, and they even come with a cool shaker. So head on over to gfuel.com and use promo code Regiment at checkout to get up to 30% off. That is Regiment, promo code Regiment down here at checkout to get up to 30% off.
Tracks and apricots have a very significant superstition. No one uses apricot scrub. Like if someone has gummies, like the apricots, they'll get fucking thrown the fuck out because like every bad incident is always associated with something apricot. Like someone that morning used apricot facial scrub. It's fucking crazy.
How do they put the two and two together with that? Why tankers are terrified of apricots? A superstition surrounding the small stone fruit started during World War II. Every time a tank broke down, apricot rations were always on board. According to the American Armored Foundation, tankers have not eaten apricots for close to 30 years, as they believe that to be a jinx and bad luck for LVTs, AAVs, and tanks. On my first float, we had an engine blow on one of the AAVs, Staff Sergeant James A. Brown said in the story. No one could figure out what caused it. We took it apart, and the very bottom was an apricot seed. Wow. Out of abundance of caution, the tanker said that he never allowed anyone on board an AAV who had consumed apricots within 24 hours. Lost radios, broken suspension, breakdowns, getting shot at, IEDs, etc. All after immediately consuming something with an apricot in it. Maybe this is one of those cases where correlation is causation. Oh, Merry Christmas, everybody in Regiment. Welcome back to another episode.
Merry Crisis.
Merry Christmas. Have a Chrysler. It is, and we're back for another episode of The Smoke Pit. Sorry we've been gone for a while. Our last episode with Faraz was our last episode for the last month because Doc went underway. Thanksgiving was happening. I was wrapping up finals, and just, you got back, what, like a week ago?
Yeah, there's a lot of sexual tension on the underwear.
I bet it fucking is, dude. Like, it's just like whenever we'd go to the field or on any kind of mobilization, we were just like so bent up afterwards. It was nuts. So,
I'll tell you, on a ship, your only privacy is a little curtain that covers the opening of your rack. So it's so funny how so many people like close that curtain and they're like, sound doesn't go through there. So all you hear, especially in the troop berthing with the Marines, is just
you just hear the
you just hear everybody jerking off, trying to keep quiet. So it's just like the faint jerking off sound.
At least you can't shake the bunk while you're doing it.
So sort of it kind of will rock a little bit or like creaking, and the mattress can move sometimes. It's hard to explain, but you kind of can.
See, I would just, whenever I was like on a field op or anything or any kind of mobilization, I would just do it in the porta-john or in the bathroom at night.
Yeah, we would have a dedicated porta shitter for only jerking off.
That's too much, but okay.
So no one would shit in it, so it didn't smell like ass when you went in there. And everybody knew these are the jerk off porta shitters. And then the reserves came in and fucking ruined it. But like out in the desert, we had jerk off porta shitters. Everyone knows you jerk off in that porta shitter, you don't take a shit.
Nah, dude. Whenever we were, then again in Europe, the porta shitters were exceptionally clean all the time. So it was like it didn't matter if people were shitting in it or not. It was always going to be clean. So it didn't matter. The only thing is
American shitters.
The only thing is that the bottom part of it is like graded. So it's just dirt ground underneath it. So it's like it's all holes in the ground. There's no solid.
The waffle stop everything.
So no, that's like if you ended up fucking getting some spunk on the ground, it was going on the dirt and there was no getting it back. You just had to. It was just you would find some shit on the ground right there, and then it's like because you can't wipe it up and throw it away. It's on the ground under the porta shitter. It's just like, well, there it is. So there's fucking a lot of dirt babies in there. So anyway, So, and welcome back to another episode of the Smoke Pit. We got a lot of shit to talk about today. Some gaming news, some military news, some bad news for you Navy heads out there, especially what those you poor bastards about to get out in 2024. Have we got some news for you? Y'all,
is this the first you're hearing?
Yeah, and if this is the first you're hearing about it, don't kill the messenger, man. I'm just here to tell you about it.
We don't kill anybody in that aspect, but
yeah. So first, we're going to talk about the VA. A VA worker admits to stealing money from disabled veteran accounts.
What? No, I'm so shocked.
The VA is screwing vets over. No, that doesn't happen.
Never.
We'll dive into a little bit of how that fucking works. So for you Army people like me, and I'm sure all the Army people out there that has had this experience have always called bullshit, but the Army combat uniform's insect repellent is at the center of a fraud case.
Interesting. The Marines have this too.
Basically saying the Department of Justice alleges that the contractor failed to accurately apply bug repellent to ACUs and falsified the test results. So
shocker.
When we were like, wait, this is supposed to be bug repellent on the uniforms, but they don't work. There's no fucking way there's bug repellent on this. It never worked.
Yeah, they're supposed to be up to like what, 100 washes or something like that.
Yeah, or something. I don't know. It was, but even still, like it almost never felt like it actually was like it worked. So
it almost never worked.
And like I firmly believe that is they lied about it. There's no way that it's like not a lie.
I don't know how they found out.
Probably by looking into a new uniform. Like this doesn't seem like it works. Let's look into it. Anyway, so a U.S. Army sergeant said that she would rather shit in her hands and clap, and by choosing adult entertainment over continuing to serve, meaning that she just wants to get fucked on camera on her OnlyFans versus actually continuing to serve. But you know what? Good on her.
You had a way better opportunity to say, and she'd rather get fucked on camera than get fucked by the military.
Right. She's gonna take a weenie. It might not be the green one, but apparently she makes you make a lot of money on OnlyFans. A lot. You could.
Well, you can.
So it makes sense. It's like as a business move, why not? Right.
Yeah, I would absolutely. I'd be a hoe on OnlyFans.
So would I. Like, if I wasn't a dad-botted fucking disabled.
No, there's a niche for that. You can have dad bods sitting on cake, and there's some sick fuck out there that will pay you hundreds of dollars to watch your fat ass sit on a fucking cake.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I'm too self-conscious. Anyway. War Thunder's back in the news, kids.
To make you less self-conscious, that's for sure.
10 grand a month. Maybe I'll be okay.
I'm pretty confident now.
I don't know, babe. Should I do a dad bod OnlyFans? She said, "Hell yeah!" So I guess
we're getting rich
as long as you manage it. Okay. All right. Fuck it. Might as well. So War Thunder's back in the news again because people cannot stop leaking documents on War Thunder. It happens all the time. That just never stops.
I literally, when I saw this article get posted in the IW server, I had to click on it because I was like, is this a new one? Or is this something that someone just happened to find?
No, this is a new one. And there was another one that happened a week ago.
Jesus Christ.
But it wasn't a US vehicle. It was a Chinese one. So who gives a shit?
Yeah, that's the one that we need. Those are the type of secrets we need.
Those are the secrets we want to see. Not ours being put out there. But anyway, still, like, yes, like War Thunder forums are leaking classified docs again. Shocker. So that's one of the parts in the gaming news. Another big one in the gaming world is that finally Bobby Kotick, the CEO of Activision Blizzard, is leaving. Bobby the Cuck is now finally making his grand exit after everyone's been begging for this. And I actually want to look into this a little more because my memory obviously is telling me
until contract.
Well, this is the end of his contract, I think. I think his contract ended after the acquisition. I don't know. From what I remember, and I could have been remembering this wrong, but I remember us talking about this, saying that Microsoft planned on keeping him until the end of his contract.
Yeah.
And weren't sure if they were going to renew it or not. So I don't know. We'll see. So for all you people out there that are into the fucking open world zombie survival games, the day before, last week and the week prior has gone down in history as the biggest scam in gaming. And it's like the biggest dumpster fire. It's probably got the worst rating on IGN in the last 10 years. It got a 1 out of 10.
Wow.
That's how bad it was. And I even told people leading into this, there's a lot of red flags going into this game. I don't even think the game is real. And there was a massive bait and switch that happened with this game. And now we're finding out that the servers for the game are officially shutting down in January. The game came out 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
And 4 days after the game came out, the studio closed its doors.
They took your money and were like, deuces.
So we'll talk about more of that once we get to it.
Imagine buying that game.
Another thing in the gaming world, Valve warns users about huffing Steam Deck fumes, which I'm lost on this. Steam Deck has fumes, like exhaust fumes?
No, that's just what they're calling it.
Okay. So,
You'll understand when you read the article why they're calling it that.
like, what is it, diesel powered? Like, what the fuck? This is weird.
It's because there's a certain smell to it, so they're calling it fumes.
Don't huff the smell of the battery, essentially.
Probably something like the heated air.
The heated air coming out of it. It's like, why is there toxic fumes coming out of a fucking handheld game?
Listen, Marines, we all know we're talking to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Pay attention on this
Marines and Minecraft and Fortnite kids.
Or Lego Fortnite.
So bad news for the Navy. So if your contract ends in 2024, it really doesn't. And why I say that is because a memorandum came out saying, I think that's the word you were thinking of.
Nav admin.
A nav admin, which was like a memorandum, came out saying that if you're you know how like when you enlist, if you sign up for 4, it's actually 8 because you have that IRR time. Well, in the Navy, once you get out, you have to serve in the reserves for at least 2 years of that IRR time. So when you get out, you're not actually out. Your ass is going directly to the reserves instead of getting completely out of the Navy. Sucks to suck, kids. But I hate to be the bearer of the bad news of that. But if you're in the Navy right now and you're trying to get out and you're into that IRR time, you are going to be a reservist for 2 years of that IRR time. You have no choice. Retention, right? Anyway, so
what retention?
So bad news for everybody with shopettes and stuff. No more late night beer runs in 2024. AAFES is to end all overnight alcohol sales in 2024. In a move aimed at suicide prevention, stores on Army and Air Force bases worldwide will stop selling alcohol after 10 p.m. You can start alcohol purchases at 6 p.m. So you have like a 4-hour window to get your fucking booze.
Out, this is only the Army and the Air Force. So
yeah,
Marines and sailors, let's party.
I know. And for our final topic, because I wanted to end this on a banger, no pun intended, soldiers say a prostitute was found living in the barracks on post. Why do they censor her boobs? Like, it's not like, is it showing? Like, did they take a picture of this chick with her tits out for Harambe?
She probably did. Like, look at around the corners. It looks like her shirt is probably pulled down for like a conspicuous titty picture. Why is the middle blurred out? I don't understand. Does she have like a third boob?
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll talk about it more when we actually get to it.
It's a strange pixelation.
I know. But before that, so any other like things that we want to update everybody about Regiment or anything? I know Loot Fest is coming up.
I've been so caught up with trying to get caught up with everything that I'm still behind.
Yeah, I mean, me too. It's been a long month for me. You got Christmas coming up right now, and it's just like, and I'm going hunting next weekend, so there's that.
It sounds boring.
It's not boring, man. I love hunting.
It's boring until you get a kill.
I always get a kill.
Yeah, but it's boring until you get the kill.
No, dude, that's the fucking best part. Is like just waiting for that deer, getting the deer roped in, and then finally getting that shot off, man. Like the hunt is the thrill. And if you're,
I'm just bored listening.
I've never gone hunting and not gotten a deer. Like this opening season, I got 2 deer. Last year I got 1. So this year would make it, if I get a deer on this trip, it's gonna make that I'll probably potentially get 3 to 4 deer this weekend. I have
So I guess stay
four-
tuned to see if
I
Brock
have
gets
4
fucking deer or
doe
not.
tags. I can get 4 deer potentially. I'm not gonna get fucking 4 deer. No way. I have no way of bringing all that meat home. I had to get a freezer for the meat that I have. Granted, if I kill
Rent
4
a
deer,
freezer?
no, I bought a freezer.
Jesus.
I bought a whole freezer that's sitting in my garage for meat. Like my freezer in my house is too small, so I actually got like on Black Friday. I got a freezer to store all my meat in.
Wow.
So I got plenty of space for more. So if I get at least 2, I'll be stocked with venison for a while.
Are you gonna make jerky?
Yeah, I probably will. I'll probably end up
I'll buy
making jerky out of this one.
I'll buy some jerky from you.
I have never done it before, so
I don't give a shit.
be warned.
I'll eat it.
Yeah. So basically, what I'm gonna do is like I ended up this last year that I got. I didn't have the freezer yet. I had ordered it after I went hunting. It took the better portion of the week to get here. My meat sat in a refrigerator while I was like butcher. I had to go get a knife too because I didn't have a good knife for actually like processing. So I quartered the deer up, brought the quarters home, and just was like spending the week of Thanksgiving and literally just cutting meat up and putting it in vacuum bags.
Is
Oh,
wifey
honey,
going with you?
that's the Christmas present I could get. A vacuum sealer. Okay, she already knows. She's tracking. Vacuum sealer, gun shit. You know, just I want a new fucking handgun. I'm thinking about actually selling mine so I can get a different one. But
I got a new 65-inch TV, and we got it wall mounted yesterday. That was one of my Christmas presents to myself.
don't you
That I
love
had
being
to-
an adult where you can buy Christmas for yourself?
I know, but I had to justify it to the wife of like it's our present because we both watch TV on it.
My TV in my living room, I think is 80 inches.
Jesus,
You've seen it. It's
is that the one?
It's the one in my living room that covers the whole wall.
I mean, we've only listened to music on it, so
Yeah, usually when we would have a game night at my house, it would be like we would use it for just Spotify. But yeah, so like I got this
such
massive.
a waste of a TV.
I mean, I got that TV. I wanted a TV for my living room, right? And it was Black Friday 2019. And I was like, I ended up just on a whim. Like we went and bought I was with my ex at the time. We went and bought a couch because we needed a couch. And I was like, let's go to Best Buy and see what kind of deals they got. Maybe we'll get a TV for the living room too. So I wasn't going to get that big of a TV, but she suggested like, go big or go home. Let's get the 80-inch TV. It's on sale for $1,000. And I was like, that's actually a fucking good deal for an 80-inch Samsung.
How long ago was this?
It was 2019. So
Oh wow, that's crazy how much
5
cheaper
years
TVs
ago.
are now. Because my 65-inch was like $300.
yeah, it's kind of amazing at how cheap TVs are now. Like you get a decent size, decent quality TV for pretty cheap now.
And they're smart TVs too.
Yeah, and the mine's a smart TV too. So like you have these TVs that are better than they used to be, and they're cheaper than they used to be. Because I remember TVs like that used to be like fucking $4,000. You'd be taking a second mortgage out for this shit.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Like
crazy.
mine's connected to Wi-Fi, and I paid like the extra $5 or whatever with Amazon to connect it to my account, like everything, like the internet and all the stuff that's tied to my account, preloaded. So I just turn the TV on, boom.
I like the fact that it's a smart TV, so I can pirate shit. I don't have to like watch streaming services on it. I can actually bootleg, or not bootleg, but pirate all the shows and movies that I want to see and not have to pay for them.
I usually
God
do
bless America.
the screen share or whatever.
Yeah.
The broadcast from my phone.
Yeah, it's Samsung, right?
It's my phone.
No, your TV.
No, it's a Amazon Fire TV.
See, my TV's a Samsung and so is my phone. So I have what's called smart things on my phone where I could connect to my TV and actually kind of use the cursor on my phone on the TV.
I can do that too.
And then
You
like
can do that with the Amazon.
right. So when you go to search, it's like you just text it in and you're not like with the remote like going to one letter to the next and shit. So
It's nice.
it is nice. I also got a VR headset.
Like the legit ones.
I got a MetaQuest 3.
I hear those are overrated.
It's not bad. I like it. I should have gotten the Valve one, but the Valve one's $1,000.
You what you pay for?
I mean,
Hey, you could have huffed the fucking vents of that one.
There's no fucking vents on the VR headset.
I'm sure somebody would.
It's got the best controllers though. It's got the ones where it's like got every finger sensor on it.
Ooh.
Mine just has some buttons and a couple of sensors. Nothing too
Man.
crazy.
Boo.
All right, let's dive into our shit today. Those of you guys that watched last episode,
Week.
the last episode we did. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was a bit long one. I was happy to have Faraz on. We'll definitely get him back on again too. Also, we got to reach out to Blake about what the fuck is going on with Mandatory Fun Day.
Oh yeah, I played some zombies with him the other day. I was like, you're still banned from the podcast right now, right?
Don't tell him that he's banned.
He's like, I know, I understand the terms.
Don't tell him he's banned. Tell him that he can't come back until Mandatory Fun Day.
That's the stipulation. He agreed to these terms and conditions.
I want to get Lord of Lips on too.
I'll show you some Lord of Lips.
The guy, he's the guy that had like the Goodbye Horses song and he would do the chapstick and shit. He's a first sergeant now.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
He's a E8 first sergeant.
I know what a first sergeant is.
Okay. You've had to have seen his TikToks. If you watch Mill Talk, you've seen his shit.
I try to avoid Mill Talk. I just watch whatever gets suggested to me.
Mine is mostly, my suggestions are like Mill Talk people. Dude,
Mine are mostly the
Blake
same
got
people.
so much hate for his Folgers coffee.
I saw his one where he was responding to the hate, but I
Creedmas?
didn't understand it.
Did you watch his Creedmas video?
I don't think so.
It's the, he's like, we're celebrating Creedmas. And like, what's Creedmas? And where it's like, basically, all I want for Christmas is you, but it's fucking Creed.
Maybe he just got hate because it was Creed.
No, he was getting hate because he was drinking Folgers coffee.
I don't understand.
He was
just want
making
Black Rifle shit.
No, it's just like because everyone Folgers coffee sucks. Okay, listen, Blake,
No,
if you're
it does.
watching this episode,
coffee is coffee.
I used to think that until I married a woman that introduced me to the bougie coffee. Bougie coffee is the fucking way. And honestly, and I know he says that he's broke and all that stuff, and I understand that, Blake, but you could get the bougie coffee grounds and a fucking stovetop coffee boiler for relatively cheap.
He wouldn't be broke if he utilized YouTube like we tell him to.
Yeah, you also get on YouTube, kid. But yeah, so like he's like he has so much fucking heat for drinking Folgers, and I can relate to this because to me at the time coffee is coffee. Folgers coffee is whatever, it's cheap, fuck it. And Coffee Mate creamer, like the powdered creamer and shit. I know Alicia's looking at me like you fucking heathen of a human being. So like I'm just like in my coffee pot that I wash maybe twice every 3 months. So like have my Folgers coffee in and then I'd pour my Coffee Mate creamer and stir it. Or if I was feeling really fancy, I'd go get some of the fucking like the actual Coffee Mate like dairy creamer that had like the different flavors like Irish cream and caramel and all the extra fancy schmancy shit and stuff. And I would just pour it in cold and drink it like that. I wouldn't even froth it or nothing. But now here I am. I have an espresso pod machine where I have like this fucking super smooth coffees and I froth my creamer and shit.
He married a basic white girl is what he's telling you.
She introduced me to the good, okay? And I can't go back. Like
all the pumpkin spice.
No, she actually doesn't like that one. She isn't. Well, I mean, she does, but pumpkin spice. She's not a big fan of it. She's more of like I like espressos.
Too mainstream.
The double shot espressos. But yeah, for me it's like, then we get the oat milk creamer, the barista blend and froth
Black
it.
coffee.
Huh?
I want my coffee to be so
put a little brown sugar
dark.
in it.
I want my coffee to be so dark. It's like let's commit murder
in an operational environment. Yes, I'm completely fine with that. I don't need anything fancy schmancy. Like I would drink the fucking coffee powder out of the Insta coffee that you get in the MREs and be fine with it.
I don't even do that. I have coffee pouches. I'll just put my lip like a dip.
No, dude. I find those to be disgusting. I don't.
I
like
get the
them at
flavored
all.
ones. They're really good.
I don't-
Grinds, they're delicious.
I don't like grinds. I tried grinds when I was in the field, dude, and I even got like the fucking French vanilla one, and I was like,
That's not a good one.
it's not. Well, even
No,
still, I
no.
don't. I just it just tasted like I had coffee in my mouth. I didn't like it at all.
That also might be because you're a dipper too.
That was also it, because when I was still in, I was chewing. So like, because I was chewing, I would like have my coffee and I couldn't chew with it, obviously. But that, to me, it was like, I don't know, I prefer drinking a hot coffee, you know, like a hot, if I'm going to have coffee and not enjoy it, I'm going to have like black, nasty, hot coffee that's got the caffeine kick in it. And that's pretty much it.
I need my espresso.
I need my, dude, fucking.
And then my French
Listen, man,
press.
Talk shit all you want about the espressos, but they're pretty fucking good, man. Regiment in this podcast is also proudly partnered with StackUp. StackUp is another military gaming organization. The one thing different, though, is that they focus mostly on the mental health of veterans as well as the betterment of veterans alike. One of the programs that StackUp has is their STOP, or Overwatch program, which is a 24/7 crisis support line for veterans. The thing that sets StackUp's Overwatch program above all other crisis support lines, including the VAs, is the fact that this 24/7 crisis line is operated by trained veterans. So when a veteran calls in crisis, they're not just talking to a random person. They themselves are talking to a vet that has also gone through something similar and can relate to the situation. Their trained staff in this Overwatch program will help a veteran find the resources that they need to find help. And if the person just wants somebody to talk to, the Overwatch program is great for that too. Another cool thing that the Overwatch program does is that you don't have to sit there and talk on the phone with somebody. If you feel comfortable just doing DMs, they can definitely do that too. Another really cool thing that StackUp has is their air assaults. Air assaults are where they'll take a veteran and fly them to conventions all over the country. This includes TwitchCon, Comic-Con, anywhere in the US, all expenses paid. And if a convention happens to be somewhere out west in California, StackUp has what's called a Phalanx House, which is essentially a gaming lounge for all veterans to just go to. StackUp will definitely hook you up with that. They have pool tables, hot tubs, and just a place to stay if you're out west. It's pretty cool. Another thing that StackUp has is their supply crates. Now, what they'll do is they'll take gaming equipment, gaming consoles, and other cool swag and send it to either a veteran in need or a unit somewhere deployed or a unit that needs it. This is a great way to keep veterans connected and boost the morale of the veterans that need it. Every year, StackUp has a charity called the Call to Arms. The Call to Arms charity is to help StackUp raise the funds that they need for all the awesome programs that they have. Last year alone, they raised $625,000, and all of that money goes to keeping these programs going to help other veterans that need it. If you're looking to donate, we have the donation link down in the bio. But if not, go ahead and spread the word of this awesome charity and head on over to stackup.org and check them all out. That's stackup.org and tell them Regiment sent you. Anyway, let's get into our topics, kids. Enough about coffee and making fun of Blake for drinking Folgers. The best part of waking up is diarrhea in a cup. So VA worker admits to stealing money from disabled veteran accounts.
Imagine
then they're doing this. So a former Veteran Affairs Medical Center worker from Pittsburgh pleaded guilty to embezzlement and mail fraud on Tuesday after federal prosecutors said that he stole money from disabled veterans and received undue pandemic vet benefits.
Oh, wow.
Corey Mazzell, 51 of Pittsburgh, pleaded guilty on 4 counts of embezzlement and 1 count of mail fraud. U.S. District Attorney Eric Olson said. On April 2020, Mizzle began working as an agent cashier at the H. John J. Hines III Department of the VA Medical Center, where he would deposit veteran benefit checks for patients who could then.
The only thing that's in my head right now.
What
is John
Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt?
That's exactly what that made me think of.
So basically, like he would deposit these benefit checks for patients who can then visit him to make withdrawals. On January 2021, the sister of a deceased veteran called the VA police about the money in her brother's account, telling him that he could not have spent the money which was withdrawn because he was bedridden. I thought she was going to say because he was dead.
I thought so too.
VA police and Mazzell said Mazzell was the teller for all of the withdrawals. Olshan and Mizzle would call to obtain authorization to withdraw funds from the VA hospital patients who were either on a COVID-19 lockdown or who could not leave their room without an escort due to their disabilities. Investigators drove past Mizel's house and saw remodeling work on his home and backyard. He was then
Why would you pick the ones that couldn't spend their money and they would be the ones to notice it the most?
Right? I don't know. So he said he was then confronted by the VA's Office of Inspector General, who said that he confessed in writing about fraudulently taking money from veteran accounts. Olson said in a news release. Mizel told the VA officials he took the money due to lost income during the pandemic and growing number of unpaid bills. He estimated that he had taken $17,660. He resigned from the VA in April 2021. However, subsequent investigation revealed that Mizel embezzled money from 5 separate VA patient accounts. Investigators said withdrawals amounts matched deposits into his bank account. During a digital forensic examination of Mizel's VA computer, investigators also discovered he had filed electronic applications for pandemic unemployment benefits through the state while working for the VA. Olson and Mizel continued to file.
He did it on a work computer. What a dumbass.
Yeah, he did. On a government work computer. So he continued to file for the benefits even after resigning his VA position, claiming he was unemployed due to the pandemic.
What a fucking idiot.
I lost my job due to COVID-19, even though I left the job. In all, federal prosecutors said Mizel collected more than $38,000 in undue unemployment benefits. He is scheduled for sentencing on March 18, 2024, and faces up to 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine, or both. He'll get both.
He'll probably get both.
He will definitely get both. Imagine stealing money from fucking vets that are bedridden just to fucking remodel your house. And you did it all on the government computer.
And he's working for the government, telling the government that he's unemployed.
Yeah, that too. It's like, I'm unemployed. Like,
what?
But unemployment knows about this. Like, you'll file for this, but they check your employment, and you're like, well, that's not hard to find. Like, you're a fucking government employee.
Exactly. Like, you can tell that. Oh, that's.
But
the fact that
the fact they still gave it to him means that they didn't actually look into whether or not he was employed,
which is insane.
Which is very
when
insane.
You think about it.
Like
but also very government.
It's par for the course for the government to do, to not actually look into something,
not do their job until after the fact.
Kind of like how fucking emails that were intended for a general were going to somebody in Russia for years, and the Russian tried to have integrity and tell them, and he still the government was just like, okay,
look into it.
We'll get to it when we get to it, or never. But yeah. That's pretty shitty, and I hope he gets the full 20 years in prison. I
hope he gets both.
By the way,
I hope he gets the $250,000 fine.
Because
so
he did,
he has to do bitch work in prison.
He not only would he go to prison, he's going to federal prison because he committed mail fraud.
Gen Pop.
Yeah, he's going to federal prison. He's not going to prison. He's going to federal prison, which is worse. Bitch. Like, you got the U.S. government fucking beating the shit out of you in jail. So anyway, let's talk about the Army combat uniform. If you've been bitten by ticks and mosquitoes, you might be entitled to compensation. So Army combat uniform,
not VA,
false.
Not VA compensated. No. Or if you do, it'll get stolen anyway.
Your malaria is non-service connected. So
doesn't matter. They'll just get it stolen anyways.
Army combat uniform, insect repellent at the center of a fraud case. So a defense contractor may
top government we have.
I know, right? This is what happens when you fucking go to the lowest bidder. A defense contractor may have rigged test results on how bug repellent Army combat uniforms were, officials say, leaving soldiers in insect-heavy places vulnerable to illness like Zika virus and Lyme disease.
They don't care.
No, they really don't care. I mean,
peasants.
Let's talk about, like you literally put them in moldy barracks and then say it's a discipline issue. You think they really give a fuck if you get Lyme disease or Zika? No. Like, they'll chapter you for having a sunburn. So a federal complaint filed by the Department of Justice on Friday alleges that North Carolina-based Insect Shield LLC and its founder, Richard Lane, who died in 2022, incorrectly tested uniforms for insect repellent and falsified documents beginning in 2015 under federal contracts worth more than $63 million. That's not a lot in the grand scheme of it. It's not. The DOJ alleges that the company and Lane participated in a multi-year failure to apply permethrin to Army combat uniforms and improved hot weather combat uniforms at the correct concentration levels. They also allege that the company submitted inaccurate lab results to the government for the contracted garments.
Wow.
The DOJ alleges that the company's conduct include more than 430 lots, quote unquote, of Army combat uniforms, which may have affected millions of soldiers over the years.
How much is in a lot?
I don't know. Emails and calls from Task and Purpose to Insect Shield's lawyers seeking comment in the lawsuit were not returned. Shocker.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Insect Shield did not make the Army combat uniform, but sprayed completed uniforms with insect repellent before they were delivered to the Defense Logistics Agency for distribution to soldiers. So if you ever unpackaged your ACUs and they smelled weird, it was the repellent, especially the bug repellent. They would smell kind of weird because they did spray them with shit.
They just did it to make you think that it was treated.
Well, they sprayed it, but it wasn't treated well. That's ultimately what it is. The total number of uniforms that Insect Shield treated was not specified in the lawsuit, but the scope of Insect Shield's contracts with uniform makers suggests the number was in the million over 6 years. Between 2015 and 2021, Insect Shield held at least 49 contracts to spray uniforms from various manufacturers, according to the court documents. Between 2013 and 2019, Blue Water Defense Incorporated committed to supplying the DLA with an estimated 880,000 trousers each year sprayed with permethrin by Insect Shield. According to contract documents, another DLA contract with Pentac Manufacturing shows a commitment to produce around 232,000 tops treated with permethrin each year. Insect Shield is one of only 2 contractors that sprays uniforms with the bug repellent. The Insect Shield complaint was filed in federal court under the False Claims Act, which is the primary legal tool used to combat contractor fraud against the U.S. government.
So if you got the insect repellent uniform, it was likely from the other contracted company that treated it. Treated it.
There was 2. There's 2.
That's what I mean. So if you got one that was treated, it was probably from the other ones because they probably actually treated them.
So let's see. With a civil complaint, the DOJ is seeking monetary damages on behalf of the federal government. Of course, not a single service member will see that. The suit follows an October 2019 whistleblower complaint filed by a former program manager for Insect Shield, Amelia Downs. Oh, shit. Under the False Claims Act, the U.S. entitled to 3 times the amount of damages it sustained, plus civil penalties of not less than $13,508 and not more than $27,000 for each false claim, according to the federal complaint. U.S. military uniforms are not new to accusations of contractor fraud. Several federal cases in recent years have led to multi-million-dollar settlements against uniform makers and contractors, said Jason Palladino, an investigator for the Project of Government Oversight. Pogo has reported on credible allegations of fraud over the years with contracts under the DLA's Troop Support Office, Palladino said. In November, Virginia-based London Bridge Trading paid $2.1 million to settle claims with the federal government and a company whistleblower over allegations that the company misled the DoD into purchasing foreign-made large duffel bags required to be made in the U.S. In October, so basically they're saying, yeah, they're U.S. made, and they were not. They were probably outsourced from China. In October 2022, oh, fuck, I gotta sneeze. In October of 22, it went away. A Brooklyn man was sentenced to prison and forced to repay $20 million to the Pentagon after selling unsafe counterfeit U.S. military uniforms that were supposed to be fireproof but were not.
Wow.
In 2019, defense contractor ADS Incorporated settled for $20 million over allegations that the CEO fraudulently won federal set-aside contracts reserved for small businesses.
I think that one was Navy related too, because I feel like I remember something about that.
Bro, this is a long fucking article.
I wonder how we found that out. It's not that much longer. Yeah, it's pretty decently long.
So it says, starting in 2012, the Army began issuing permethrin-treated combat uniforms to prevent soldiers from getting insect-borne diseases like malaria, West Nile, Lyme, and the Zika virus.
Did you hear that fart?
Huh?
Did you hear that fart?
No.
Oh.
It is one of the 2 insect repellents approved for clothing treatment in addition to Etefenprox.
Hey, remember that time that you
Etofenprox.
farted on your microphone and then you proceeded to use the microphone afterwards?
Always, yep. I do that.
And you're like, man, this microphone smells terrible.
Like, wow, that lingered, didn't it? So the factory-treated clothing replaced non-permethrin uniforms in Army military clothing stores in October 2012. October 2012. Factory
Words.
treatment guarantees that a safe and effective amount of permethrin is precisely applied to each Army combat uniform, according to the Army Public Health Center cited in the DOJ complaint. Factory treatment eliminates the potential risk of increased exposure to soldiers applying concentrated liquid permethrin products to their uniforms.
If you guys missed Brock's reading attempts, we've returned.
So in the decades prior to the factory-treated uniforms, soldiers were left to apply permethrin on their own. The DoD provided video instructions of how to apply permethrin safely, but continued to urge additional personal protection with skin-based repellents like DEET. So Agent Orange. That's what DEET is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Agent Orange was so like DEET in Agent Orange is why it was so like bad, because like the concentrate, it was not like what we have now is watered down. Before it was like very concentrated, so it was like high dosage of DEET. Agent Orange had DEET in it. That's what was causing cancer. You want me to look this up? I'll look it up right fucking now.
I feel like we're going down a rabbit hole here.
Let's go down that rabbit hole.
It's not a rabbit hole episode.
Agent Orange DEET. Agent Orange is roughly a 1-for-1 mixture of the herbicides 2,4-D. Here it says right here. Conversely, DEET is an insect repellent and not a herbicide. Okay, so Agent Orange are both organic molecules, but the similarities end there. All right, so it wasn't DEET. My grandpa was a liar.
My grandpa was a liar.
God damn it, Papa. You said that DEET was an Agent Orange.
That's literally a skit from fucking Tom Segura, where he's like, that one actor was gay, and he's like, my dad just said that to me one day. That's all your investigative services were? You're like, someone told you that shit one time, and you just rolled with it for the rest of your life?
He's like, you know he's gay, right? Like, what? And then he believed his whole life that actor was gay. Oh, it was Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's like, you know he's gay, right? And it's like, what? Where did
No,
you?
he's not gay. Oh, I thought he was.
And then he found out when he said, like, did you know he's gay? And someone's like, no, he's not. He's married.
I personally know him and his family.
And his dad was just like, I don't know. So yeah, apparently contractors lying about the effectiveness of their gear is pretty common, which doesn't surprise me given the fact that the U.S. government goes to the lowest bidder when it comes to any fucking thing.
Literally everything.
So, okay, here's what I find fascinating about this next article about the chick doing adult content on OnlyFans, right? So you know how they blurred out the boobies of the prostitute they found in the barracks? But yet this chick, they don't blur anything. Nothing.
Well, because her nipples aren't showing.
Do you really think that the nipples are showing on a fucking photo of the chick in the bear? Maybe. I don't know.
I think so. I think they are. Look at the way the fabric is going. I think titties were like, it's pulled to the side and titties are out. You see, it's like pulled over and
I don't know,
titties are
but
hanging
see,
out.
like,
They're like squished together a little bit.
These
titties
two,
are hanging
but
out.
these 3 middle squares right here indicate to me that she's wearing a pink shirt.
No. That's nipple right there.
No.
That's definitely nipple.
No.
That's nipple pixelation.
No. Anyway, so I would rather shit in my hands and clap. Army sergeant chooses adult entertainment over continuing to serve.
So I'm probably incorrect for this, and the judging of myself is wrong here. But I always feel like a woman that wears a lot of makeup and uniform, why? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? Who are you trying to impress? Whose dick are you sucking for a good evaluation?
Maybe it just makes them feel confident. Make them feel.
I understand that, and that's
feel
fine.
good.
I'm not saying that I'm not incorrect for feeling this way. That's my own personal bias of like when I see a woman wearing a lot of makeup and uniform, I'm like, why? Why? Who are you trying to impress?
Listen, if it's in garrison on duty, who gives a shit? If it's in the field or on a deployment, that's weird.
That's what I mean. I've seen that shit, and
I've never saw that. I mean, mostly because
I've
I
absolutely seen it.
I saw one chick try that one time that she tried it, and she was like, "I will never fucking do that again." I'm like, because I didn't make fun of her, but I said, "Hey, what makes you think that you need makeup on right now?" And she was like, "I don't know."
And then like I understand we start getting into like body issues and all that stuff. But like that's just my own incorrectly driven personal bias where I'm like, why? What are you trying to accomplish here?
So you know what I did? I gave her like fucking oil, like actual like fucking camo paint. I said, we're all putting this on anyway, so you might as well wipe that shit off.
This is your new makeup.
So this is the new fucking approved makeup for like operational environments. You're not gonna fucking need your concealer or anything like that when you're out here. Like
well, that is concealer.
It's concealer, but it's operational concealer, not fucking. I want to look better because look better concealer. But yeah, she did it one time, and I told her, I'm like, you do know that we're not gonna have like any way to wash ourselves for the next month.
Sometimes some people being concealed makes them look better.
Even still, nobody gives. I even told her, I'm like, no one really gives a fuck. Like, you don't have to wear that shit.
I meant when we can't see.
And
them.
Also, I said on top of that, you're gonna be miserable wearing that shit. So you might as well clean that off.
It's gonna clog your pores.
You're gonna break out. And she washed it off like after I told her that. I said, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's humid. It sucks out here. We're gonna be doing like a 10-click maneuver to a target point. You are not going to be having a good time. You might want to clean that off. And yeah, she did. I said you're gonna break the fuck out. Like, you gotta clean. I'd clean that off now. Like, and she did. So anyway, U.S. Army veteran who previously made headlines for saying the word she would rather shit in her hands and clap. That's my quote, okay? Than re-enlist has revealed that to be an OnlyFans creator.
But have you done it on OnlyFans? She's probably done it on OnlyFans. Okay,
here we go. It's another fucking guardsman. So former Kentucky Army National Guard Sergeant Lily Mitchell, who served under the 149th Maneuver Enhancement Brigade. Oh, she's in a MEB.
What is that?
Maneuver Enhancement Brigade. It's like combat. It's like engineers, MPs, and stuff. It's all admin shit. And not admin shit. It's logistic shit. Previously served in 2 uniforms, the Army OCP uniform and the Hooters orange and whites.
I love the way that
so do I. Previously, Mitchell made headlines in 2022 for her comments about serving, use of TikTok in uniform, and her patrons at Hooters calling her Big Sarge, as well as comments regarding her reenlistment. I would rather shit in my hands and clap. The audio overlay and the related video with a caption reading, when the retention approaches me about reenlisting. I mean, I have literally said that same thing to retention. I would hey, I'm going to be honest with you, Sergeant. I'd rather shit in my hands and clap than fucking sign up for another 4 to 6 years.
So the use of TikTok and uniform thing, I'm always against.
So am I.
Like,
depending on what it is.
Cops, well, even still, I don't agree with it. Unless I like the way that Angry Cops does it, where he doesn't have like actual stuff on his uniform. He's got like Angry Cops and then like AG as his name. So like he doesn't have the name tags. You know what I mean? So it's like you get obviously the military feel of it, and they could technically be in the uniform, but they're not showing or representing the government, which technically by the laws of our social media guidelines, if you're in uniform and it says whatever entity, you're representing the government at that.
Right. Yeah. Lord of Lips, his videos in uniform are pretty funny because he does ASMR, but the ASMR that he's doing is how to do a 9-line medevac, how to basically like going over like the fucking mission shit It's all instructional videos of like doing operations, but it's ASMR. So he's got like the ASMR microphone, and he's putting on fucking camo paint, and he'll talk into the microphone like this and stuff, and he'll just go over the 9 line and shit. It's pretty.
Does he like tap the fucking shit?
No, he just all his ASMR is through his mouth.
Okay, so it's all whisper shit.
Yeah. Okay, so
wait. There's still 2 more.
I know.
There's more to this article. Okay.
Yes, I know. So as previously reported, the video generated controversy due to the fact that Mitchell appeared to be inside of a government building while she was making the TikToks in uniform. But it seems now that Mitchell has taken the Instagram to OnlyFans pipeline, like many service women before her. Just a former Army girl from Guns. These are the emotes, I guess?
Yes.
Previously a hot item on Instagram, Mitchell is clearly branched out. My friends and I should get an OnlyFans, and one thing led to another, and here I am. My friends said I should get an OnlyFans, and one thing led to another, and here I am. She wrote only on the matter earlier in the year. 27,000 individuals follow Mitchell on OnlyFans, likely due to her free subscription.
Excuse me?
Meanwhile,
that's unheard of.
Meanwhile, over 632,800 people follow her on her old TikTok, though it appears she hasn't posted there in some time. Mitchell remains active on Instagram, but has much smaller following than her TikTok.
That's interesting that she has a free So that's actually probably genius, because OnlyFans is typically like you have to pay for subscription shit, right?
Okay, well, here's the thing. Usually when someone has a free OnlyFans, there's really not much in there when it comes to what you want to see.
But it's genius, though, because it baits them in, and then it has probably like teasing pictures, and it gets them to buy the actual shit.
Yeah, usually that's
which is smarter, because a lot of people that go to OnlyFans are like, I got to pay for this just to see it. Suck my dick. Kiss my ass. I'm fucking out of here. But if she's baiting them in and giving them like somewhat kind of pictures, and then they have like a blurry picture video, and it says purchase for whatever, and they're like, oh, I really want to fucking see this.
All I gotta say is fucking guys, Pornhub's free. Come on.
Exactly. There's so many. There's so much
free
myriad of free websites.
A myriad? You mean a myriad?
It's the same fucking thing.
No.
Okay. I know you're not talking to me about words right now.
I am, because that's not how you say it. It's a myriad, not
you're
myriad.
Talking about how to say words right now. Y'all hearing this?
Yeah, I am. But yeah, so like. Yeah, there's a lot of outlets to get free fucking porn that you don't have to be draining your bank accounts to see somebody's OnlyFans.
Yeah, you can just drain your balls for free.
That's why I never thought, I don't know, I don't understand how OnlyFans caught on the way it did. Because I even said, who the fuck's going to pay? Because like when it first got popular, I was like, who's going to pay for that? Like, who's going to pay for something that you could get for free?
It's the fake relationship aspect of it, because like you get personalized messages, and like so the people that work OnlyFans, like I've known a few people that have OnlyFans, and it's a lot of work. Like they have to market themselves, but like they individually message people, right?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the only reason why I don't fucking think I could ever get into it, because I'm like, I don't want to talk to these people. Right? I would rather
like
not.
A full-time persona job. But then again, if I'm making hundreds of thousands of dollars for sitting on some cake or showing some ass, I'll fucking text a few people like, hey babe, check out this new video, send me more money.
Send me money and I'll send you something that you can just watch for your spank bank.
And it's because it's not, it gives them, it's not like a bot
or a schlick
right
flick.
It's not like a automated response. They're getting an actual typed out message to them, but they're fucking paying for it. They're paying for a falsehood to feel connected to someone. It's like a stripper. It's not the money you're giving her. There's a real connection there.
Or there's that.
Right?
There's the extra creepy thing of like you personally know the person. Like
that's just strange. I could never do that. I could never.
Someone knows you, but you don't know it's like, I think they know that it's you, but like someone who actually know like like an individual knows the model. so they
Oh, like,
subscribe.
but online they don't know that it's them.
Right. So it's like,
okay.
you know, let's say that like I had an OnlyFans, but somebody that personally knows me subscribes to it to see my OnlyFans because they know me and it's their little sneak peek into me, you know?
And then they start building that real falsehood connection. And
then it gets
in
really,
their mind,
really
they can't
weird.
differentiate real from fake.
And like it gets really fucking really strange
yeah.
after that. Things get really awkward. All right, on to our next topic, kids. Sensitive documents showed up again on War Thunder forums. Again.
I love the way they put it. Yeah, they're like, again.
Yeah, dude, because it happens all the fucking time. And this time it was the Bradley fighting vehicle. Bradley's, Nighthawks, and Apache's Oh My. Yet again, the online combat game War Thunder has seen a leak of sensitive military documents related to the M2A2 Bradley fighting vehicle into one of its game forums. In this case, the leak information isn't legally classified, but holds nuts and bolts level details the Army considers sensitive. The documents were posted in the Machinery of War discussion section of the War Thunder forums on December 12th, but was taken down after several minutes.
What is nuts and bolts level?
Basically just like, you know, I don't know, part by part assembly shit.
Okay.
So some users were able to make copies of the documents before it was taken down, and one user sent them to Task and Purpose. This is the 14th time that sensitive or classified information has been leaked in the forums.
Jesus.
The gamers who play War Thunder have a reputation for demanding hyper-realism in the game's simulation, and users will often try to settle debates on military equipment by quoting information from the technical manuals.
Imagine.
I know. They'll post in the
Fucking
TMs.
nerds.
2 pages out of the TM 9-2350-439-23P-2, the technical manual for the M2A2 Bradley Armored Infantry Fighting Vehicle, were leaked. The pages detail the commander's hatch, turret assembly, and the spall liner assembly down to the bolts, washers, and nuts.
Wow.
The documents aren't classified, but are considered export-controlled data and are only available to the Department of Defense and its contractors. It wasn't
Not anymore.
Nope. It wasn't the first place the information was leaked, though. Gaijin Entertainment founder Anton Yudenstev said that the leaked documents were spotted on other websites like Reddit and Discord before they landed on the War Thunder forums. This reminds me of the fucking kid that leaked all the fucking...
In that document or in the Discord?
Yeah, to win an argument.
Yes.
As far as we know, this particular leak did not appear on War Thunder forums first. It was published online on December 8th and even earlier, and has been spreading on various platforms for days until it landed on War Thunder forums. Yudenstev said, "While we did our part in helping to limit the leak spreading further by deleting the post, we can do nothing with it. What's happening on other platforms.
It's insane.
Classified information about the AH-64 Delta Apache Longbow helicopter and the F-117 Nighthawk was previously leaked on the forums. Like the other users, the one who posted the Bradley documents has been banned from the War Thunder platform. Imagine to win an argument and you get banned from the fucking game because you decided to be that guy.
No, it said from the
whatever.
Well, from the platform. All they gotta do is make a new account, anyways.
I know. Task and Purpose previously reported how some users are confused by the declassified documents and how they are restricted. Export control data like the Bradley TM applies to any information that can hurt U.S. national security if exported. If the wrong people see the details, they can potentially build their own equipment to defeat the U.S. designs. Unistev said the post was taken out quickly. However, the documents may still exist on other websites. Task Purpose reached out to the Pentagon for comment and will update. They're not going to respond. Come on. Let's be real. The Bradley has been replaced by a more modern M2A4 Bradley fighting vehicle in the U.S. military. Interesting. And it's funny that the Bradley got leaked because the Bradley's been used in Ukraine a lot recently.
Oh, yeah, that's what they just said, too. And they played an important part in Ukraine's defense. Was the last sentence.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. I kind of closed it at the end there.
So the Bradley's been replaced by the more modern M2A2 Bradley fighting vehicle in the U.S. military. M2A2 Bradley AIFV is still in use today, and they played an important part in Ukraine's defense.
Yeah, I mean, like I've been seeing videos of the Bradley in action for the last couple of weeks. of Bradley's rolling up to fucking infantry fighting positions and just laying waste on that shit. Bradleys are. Have you ever? You've never been in a Bradley, have you?
No.
They are rough.
I've only seen tanks with the Marine Corps. I was never in
Bradley is not a tank. Bradley is like basically an APC. It's basically
like an MRAP.
No, it's on tracks.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So I've seen tracks. So I've seen tanks and I've seen tracks. I was never in one.
It's a lot smaller though. So like you have the what's the one that the Marine Corps uses? The amphibious one?
I can't remember. I knew a long time ago and I can't remember.
But it's basically the same, but it's got a bigger gun on it and it's a smaller body. And it's not amphibious. It's also really, really rough to ride in. The thing is like fucking jarring to ride. I've been in it one time and I'm so glad I only ever had to fucking deal with that shit once.
Did you guys have the saying yes?
No.
You ain't tracks, you ain't shit?
No, because I was not in a tracked vehicle a lot. So
and something about what was it? Peaches? Or apricots. They have like a weird apricot what's the word where they don't use it? Like if you don't use something, what's the word I'm looking for here? Because something bad will happen.
Superstition?
Yeah, there we go. I couldn't think of the word. Fucking, it was on my brain, and it's like we're gonna make you work for this. They have a superstition about apricots. So like, they don't have any apricot scrub. No one uses apricot scrub. They're not allowed to have any apricot flavored. Like if someone has gummies, like the apricots, they'll get fucking thrown the fuck out because like every bad incident is always associated with something apricot. Like someone that morning used apricot facial scrub or had something it's fucking crazy.
How do they put the 2 and 2 together with that?
Bro, I heard it from one of the tracks guys and he was telling me about, please, like if someone actually comments and tells me if they've heard this, but tracks and apricots have a very significant superstition. I'm going to type in I'm
going to Google this
in the Discord right now and ask the regiment guys if they know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Why tankers are terrified of apricots.
Yeah, see?
There's a Military Times article about this. This is interesting. Why tankers are terrified of apricots. Apricots, a gift from China courtesy of the Silk Road, golden eggs of the sun, such a tasty fruit, unless you're a tanker. In that case, these deep marigold delicates are a curse whose very mention is enough to send shivers down a grown man's sweaty backside. I got out years ago and still don't fuck with apricots, wrote one Reddit user. A superstition surrounding the small stone fruit started during World War II. Every time a tank broke down, apricot rations were always on board, according to an excerpt from the USC Folklore Archives. This would make sense as rations were generally distributed evenly among armor crews. And statistically, if a tank were to break down, you would most likely find an orange fruit. Ever since then, tankers and APC crews have been deathly afraid of apricot. The superstition carried on through the Vietnam War and remains alive and well today. According to the American Armored Foundation, tankers have not eaten apricots for close to 30 years, as they believe that to be a jinx and bad luck for LVTs, AAVs, and tanks. In 2000, there was even an article circulated among the 26th Marine Expeditionary Unit about the scourge of apricots. On my first float, we had an engine blow on one of the AAVs, Staff Sergeant James A. Brown said in the story. No one could figure out what caused it. We took it apart, and the very bottom was an apricot seed. Wow.
Yes, I knew I wasn't crazy.
Out of abundance of caution, the tanker said that he never allowed anyone on board an AAV who had consumed apricots within 24 hours. If I know someone has been drinking something with apricot in it, I will not let them in, Brown said. Many additional stories across Reddit claim to confirm suspicion about the sweet peach family fruit. Lost radios, broken suspension, breakdowns, getting shot at, IEDs, etc., wrote user Fish Pilot. All after immediately consuming something with an apricot in it. Another described an incident where the presence of apricots caused the scene. Bloody hell, apricots, one thing you do not bring anywhere near a tank ever, exclaimed user Balthrop. A long time ago, an attached captain brought some dried apricots onto the Charlie Company's tanks. The loader saw this and shoved the officer. Who knew something so sweet could cause such strife? Is this a video about this? Nope, that's not. That is so interesting. So the fucking tankers, like, all the way back to World War II, and that engine one is interesting, where they couldn't figure out why the engine blew. They find an apricot seed in the engine, and it's like, how did that get there?
What are the fucking odds?
So now they assume, they just associate. Maybe this is one of those cases where correlation is causation, because everyone says correlation isn't always causation, but I think in this case it might be. Because hey, something bad always happens.
Destroy everything.
But it's so random too. Like an apricot, a peach, a dried peach is basically the bane of a tanker's existence. Of all things.
I knew I wasn't crazy when I was thinking of this. I'm surprised you never heard that.
No, I wasn't in a tank, so I never heard that before.
This is just something that I remember because I would go on a lot of coverages for different various companies and everything when I was. Like when I got back from deployment, my time getting back was spent with headquarters company. So I'd always volunteer to go on these different field ops and different coverages. So I'd be sent with different platoons, different companies, regiments on various shit. So I'd get the experiences of a lot of different people. And that was one of the stories I remember hearing was apricots. I'm like, what the fuck? Why?
That's weird. It's like this fucking dried peach fruit is like no one's touching them. If you eat an apricot, you're staying on the boat. Like, what? Okay. But weird. Anyway, in further news, Bobby the Cut Kotick. Bobby Kotick.
Fucking out of here.
Bobby Kotick is leaving Activision Blizzard on December 29th.
6 more days from
Bobby Kotick's official resignation date from Activision Blizzard has been confirmed. Bobby Kotick has confirmed that he'll be stepping down as CEO of Activision Blizzard King on December 29th with no direct replacement planned to take his place. Just days after Xbox's purchase of Activision Blizzard King for $69 billion was finalized in October, it was confirmed that 69, nice. It was confirmed that the company's CEO, Kotick, would be stepping down at some point before the end of the year. An internal memo staff confirmed as much, but didn't give a concrete date. It's been several months since Kotick's eventual resignation was shared, and we now have confirmation he'll be resigning just over a week on December 29th. The news was first reported by The Verge, which confirmed that a direct replacement for Kotick hadn't been hired and that several Activision Blizzard executives, such as Blizzard president Mike Ybarra, are being moved kept on at Xbox.
That doesn't make sense.
I
think they put more words than they intended.
Yeah, I think they did too. I knew that wasn't just me. That was
for once.
So, such as the Blizzard president Mike Ybarra are being kept on at Xbox. I don't know what that means. So the news was confirmed by Kotick himself in a post of the Activision Blizzard newsroom, which states,
it's almost like you wrote the article,
which starts by addressing extraordinary people before running through his history in games and his time at Activision. The statement ends by praising Phil Spencer, with Kotick noting to staff that they could not be in better hands. I mean, if it's not your hands, then it is better hands.
Allstate stands. Oh, it's Allstate stand. Never mind.
So Phil Spencer has appreciated the magic of ABK for decades. When he approached Brian and me 2 years ago and proposed acquiring the company, it was immediately obvious that the combination of our businesses would enable us to continue to lead a list of capable, well-resourced competitors grows. Whatever.
He looks like such a beady-eyed blowfish.
I know. I hate his face.
It's like the Step Brothers. Like, I don't know what it is about your face, but if you don't fix it, I'm gonna fix it for you.
So, alongside Kotick's post about his departure, Xbox head Phil Spencer also released an internal memo to staff that has been shared by The Verge. Unsurprisingly, it says nothing about some of the controversial allegations made against Kotick over the past few years, and instead praises and thanks him for his work at the company before announcing the aforementioned staff changes. Why would they? Why would they even talk about that? You know?
Well, one, because it's I would say because they're allegations for one, and that's not professional. Just like how so in the Navy, I know it's in our instruction that for like our evaluations, like our write up, if there is an ongoing case, like they have not been to captain's mast and or court martial, like they have not been found guilty in any way, shape, or form, it is not allowed to be written about.
Whatever. So alongside Kotick's post about his departure, nope, I already read that. Spencer said, under Bobby's watch, Activision Blizzard and its many incarnations has been an enduring pillar of video games. Whether it's Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Candy Crush Saga, or any number of other titles. What other titles?
I mean,
what else?
There's quite a few. There's a lot. Activision was a part of Spyro.
Yeah, okay. Name another title from Activision that's bigger than Call of Duty that you have heard of.
Crash.
Currently.
I mean, currently? That's not very fair because there hasn't been much to even come out anymore.
Correct. So, anyway, it seems
I'm sure I can Google it and find one.
Whether it's Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Candy Crush, or any number of titles, his teams have created beloved franchises and entertained hundreds of millions of players for decades. I'd like to thank Bobby for his invaluable contributions, like trying to get his secretary killed, to the industry, his partnership in closing the Activision Blizzard acquisition, and his collaboration following the close. And I wish him and his family the very best in his next chapter. Hopefully it's death, honestly. This fucking dude... Everybody, and honestly, I guarantee you that everybody in Activision was celebrating this. Finally, the king is dead. Okay, Overwatch, yeah. But it's finally, he's gone. He's finally fucking gone.
Not yet. We have 6 more days.
Oh, he's finally leaving. The dude's leaving. Nobody likes this guy. People were calling for this dude's head for years.
What if we get somebody worse?
I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't. I would not be surprised. His investors defended him to the fucking very bitter end. Like they did. They were like, we have the most confidence in this guy ever. When everybody in the games industry was like, this dude needs to fucking go.
Well, do you know why? Because he's sucked every dollar out of every player ever. That's why like Call of Duty sucks. Like that they put so much into the store and they make billions off of it because it's not us they're really making that money from. They're making it off the little Timmy that will play for like a few hours every so often, but he was like, I gotta get that fucking skin, I gotta get that skin. They'll buy the fucking skin and then doesn't give a shit, plays other games, but he's the one making all the fucking money and they're sucking it dry.
I really wish people would stop. Like look at Modern Warfare 3 too. Like it's like Modern Warfare 3 is
actually getting a lot more praise than MW2 though.
I don't understand how. I really don't. It's the worst rated Call of Duty in years. It really it really is. Like I don't see anybody ever say anything good about it. I don't. And I still see people play it and talk shit about it. It's like, so play something else, man.
I just play zombies. I will say though, I was playing.
I don't want to hear any fucking defense of Call of Duty.
No, zombies, I'll always defend zombies. Zombies has always been phenomenal to me. I've never seen a bad zombies, honestly. Regardless of the developer, I've fully always enjoyed zombies. Some more than others, but zombies has always been a standpoint to me because it's separate. In my opinion, I see it as separate. It's associated with Call of Duty, but it's like it's kind of its own thing. But they have a Christmas game mode, and it's called Snowball Fight. You have no weapons. And it's just the map is covered in snow and you have snowballs and you just run around the map and you throw snowballs at people.
You know what sucks? Some of these events are actually fun, but they're only
like that was the best mode I've ever played.
They're only a thing for that.
I know.
And
that's the sad part.
It's like, do more shit like that. Like we don't need all this extra bullshit that you want to make everyone pay for. Have fun little events like this every so often. Like actually more than every so often.
I had a blast playing Snowball Fight. That shit was hilarious.
Fuck. Speaking of dumpster fires,
I have 1 hour play. Well, but until that, I had 1 hour played game time of multiplayer, but I have like 6 days of.
I've been heavily in VR lately. Heavily, it's so fun. I love VR.
I have a VR. I've just never played it.
It's
just a PlayStation one though.
dude. VR is so fun, and like the only thing is like if I'm really
You play
not
horror
feeling-
games?
No, I want to. I'm going to probably. It's just I
Have a heart
have a
attack.
lot of fun with those flight sims and the shooters.
The horror games. Would
I've
give
been
me a
playing
heart
this
attack.
game called Asgard's Wrath, where it's basically like God of War in VR.
Hmm.
That's fun. Problem is, you need a lot of room to play that because I have smashed the ceiling and the wall in my game room a lot because it's a melee
Does it have
game.
the safety parameters? Like if you're about to hit something, does it show?
Oh yeah,
does it pop up?
it does. It does. However, the problem is when you're fucking mid swing, and you're like mid swing when that border shows up, it's too fucking late, you know, and you don't see it until and you're like trying to like parry and shit and move around and stuff, and like if you don't have the room for it, you're gonna hit your hands, you're gonna smash your controller by accident. So
Does it show the border or does the vision go to regular?
It shows the border.
Okay,
Because
I've
once you
seen
step
one.
out, when you step out of the border, that's when it shows you the like your actual surrounding.
Interesting.
Because
Because I've seen it to where like if you're getting really close to the border, the vision will pop to regular and you'll see everything around you.
no, so for like only if you step out. So if you get close, you get like a gridded wall that shows up, and then like when it'll be blue, and then when your hand or something's getting close to the border, that part that's close to the border will turn red to let you know that you're there. But anyway.
Interesting.
So speaking of other dumpster fires, the last couple of weeks, the day before is officially shutting down January following a disastrous launch. And that is the
Should've-
understatement of the century.
It should have shut down a day before launch.
So after one of the worst launches of 2023, the day before has finally been confirmed to be shutting down next month. This is a fascinating story. Following one of the most disastrous launches of 2023, the day before's developer Fantastic has confirmed that it's shutting down and that the game will go offline January 22nd, 2024.
Very specific date.
So it's tough to know where to even begin talking about the day before. Originally pitched as a live service survival game, the day before was once one of the most pre-ordered and talked about games on Steam, and
This is why you don't fucking pre-order.
that was not an accurate statement because it wasn't available for pre-order ever. It was only wish listable. That was it. It was the most wish listed game on Steam.
so you couldn't pre-order it.
You could not pre-order it. You never
All right,
could.
yeah, that's a significant fucking
And
difference.
they worded this wrong. You couldn't pre-order.
I mean,
it.
that's still a big fucking word difference.
It is. So it was the most talked about wish listed game on Steam that looked like it had a bright future ahead of it. Then it actually released, and everyone found out it was a buggy, unfinished, not a live service, and barely resembled the game that was promised all those years ago. So here's the thing. The day before was marketed as an open world zombie MMO survival game.
I do
right?
remember hearing about this.
And there was a lot of red flags in the last year that kind of indicated that this is probably not what the game is. Or if it even exists at all. So the trailer that they showed, and even Massive Interactive, who are the developers of The Division, said that the game, the trailer that they showed looked a lot like The Division. So,
Interesting.
and there was a lot of similarities between that and The Division for a long time. And even when I saw the trailer, I'm like, I guarantee you this is not at all what the game looks like. Then they didn't really talk about, like, they didn't really release anything for a year. And when it was getting closer and closer to the release date of the game, there had still not been any gameplay footage shown ever. So they were going to do a gameplay reveal the week prior to its original launch. Then the game got delisted from Steam. When people were asking about this, Fantastic came out and said that the delisting was a bug and they're working with Steam to fix it. Then they came out within a day and said that the delisting was due to a copyright issue because there was a calendar app that was apparently calling copyright infringement because, you know, they had the same name for the app. Then they said that it was them being delisted. The copyright thing was causing a delay. Then they said that the delay was already planned to have happened because they still needed more time on the game.
They
right?
need an excuse.
They were just one excuse after another, and it just wasn't, the math wasn't mathing, right? So like they had a they got delisted. They said it was a bug. Then they said it was delisted because of a copyright. Then they said they had to delay it because of the copyright. Then they said that they were delaying the game because they had already planned to delay the game to begin with, but they just randomly announced it at the same time as the delay from the copyright, right?
Interesting.
So you would think that before you would put a game on Steam, you would check for a fucking copyright of the name, right?
Right.
So that was red flag number one. Red flag number two was the fact that there had still been no gameplay footage. They delayed the gameplay footage. And even the moderators in their Discord had never seen gameplay footage. They were like, there was even a moderator that took to Reddit that said they themselves aren't even sure that this game even exists because they haven't seen anything about it. So in the last several months leading into this release, they finally released gameplay footage. However, it was just a trailer, right? The game's trailer. The trailer was, everyone noticed that this looks like assets from other games like Call of Duty Black Ops, The Division, other random games where it just didn't, it was almost one-for-one copy of Call of Duty trailers and other shit. And everyone's like, this is an asset flip, isn't it? Where they were just using assets that were, you know, that they paid for to add them into the game.
I didn't know that was the thing.
Yeah, it is the thing. You can get assets from like, if you, whatever engine you're working on, there are assets you can.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
You could purchase.
Because of the engine.
Right. So you could purchase the assets off the engine and then just kind of tweak them how you want. But
so it's like how the Fortnite creative stuff works because
right.
it's the Unreal Engine.
You can even use map assets too. So when the game actually came out, and this is the funny part, the game surprise dropped. They didn't even, in the gameplay footage they showed was nothing like what they originally showed in any of the trailers. There was no zombies hardly at all. There was no players hardly at all. The game visually looked different from the trailer. It looked significantly more empty compared to the trailer that they showed before. It was a fucking mess, right? The game comes out and it's so broken when it comes out and empty. And it wasn't even, it wasn't a survival game. It wasn't open world. It wasn't an MMO. It was a small extraction shooter. It was a completely different genre. And on Steam, they had it saying it was a survival MMO, but it was not a survival MMO. They ended up, and right when they released the game, they scrubbed their YouTube of all the old footage that they had of it.
Interesting.
So everyone was like, this is a fucking scam. And everyone knew it was a fucking scam prior to its launch, but people were still willing to get it. And
I wonder if you can still find them through like React videos.
No. Oh, you can. People obviously, like, things on the internet just don't disappear. They even like nuked their website, their Twitters, all this shit. Like, you can't fucking find nothing.
Wow.
Anyway, so shortly after releasing, the day before, its developer Fantastic announced that it was going to be shutting down, wiped their YouTube channel while saying shit happens, and started offering refunds for the game, making its future look very bleak indeed. Well, to the
at least they were offering refunds.
That's the thing. The way that the refund, they're only offering refunds because Steam got involved too, because the refund window was 2 hours. People couldn't even connect to the game to play it for 2 hours. So by the time they were actually able to connect to a server and see the game for what it was, they couldn't get a refund.
Isn't that Steam in general? Their rules, right?
Right. So because
unless they specifically give special parameters for refunds, like Cyberpunk and all that.
Yeah. So this was one of those special parameters where they were offering refunds to everybody. So, and there was a lot of people trying to defend it, saying, "Oh, this is just early." They changed it to early access. They didn't release the game; they called it early access so they could get away with shit. And people were like saying, "Oh, you can't judge it on this. There's going to be plenty of patches." And even I said, "I guarantee you, there won't be a patch. The studio is either going to shut down. There's going to be a lawsuit. The servers will shut down, and it all happened just like that." Like I said,
it's another Anthem.
Worse, way worse.
Well, yeah, because Anthem actually lasted for a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, the servers for Anthem stayed up for a while. BioWare was actually still trying to work on it. These motherfuckers literally, within 4 days of the game's launch, announced they were shutting down the studio. said that they couldn't allocate the funds to, you know, pay the bills and shit. And it was like after 4 days, a lot of things
Like,
got,
you know that that's coming, right? Like, that's planned.
yeah, they knew that they were going to shut down. So like that was the whole thing where it's like within 4 days, you knew that you couldn't fucking pay your investors and shit. Like you couldn't pay the bills. You knew this like 4 days after the launch. Even
They're
though
just trying to milk any type of money that they could from it.
right. So,
Because you know there's gonna be people that don't get a refund, right?
Yeah.
Or they don't apply for it. So like, so those people that like buy a game, but they're still finishing another game, so they don't even know how bad that one is.
yeah,
And then by the time that they get to it, or even learn about what's going on, they're past that time frame. Or hell, they buy it and they're like going on fucking deployment, and they want to play something for when they get back, or like in between times, or like they're going like myself, they're going underway for fucking 10 days, and they're like, all right, I'll play it when I get back. Boom, shit, everything's closed, out of time for the refund.
yep. And then the whole shit happens thing. That was the response. That was Fantastic's response to someone's comment on their Twitter.
Jesus Christ.
Because it was like someone had made the comment saying that you guys should be ashamed of yourselves. This game was a complete scam. I hope you guys get sued, blah, blah, blah. And then they said this was our first time making a game like this. Shit happens.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm almost more understanding, and you know what? I'll accept that answer over a bullshit answer though, because you're like, oh yeah, they're right, shit happens.
No, that was
Whereas,
a bullshit answer.
Well, it was, but I don't know if it's just me, but like if I hear shit happens over a bullshit fucking PR response, I'd rather have the response of shit happens.
Wait, what the fuck?
Would you break?
It made me relog into this.
Relog in.
Yeah, it made me relog in because it was saying that it was like, show me the whole, you need to log into this to see this.
To the gamer?
Yeah.
I've never had that problem. Oh, because of the browser that you're using too. Are you using Opera?
No, I'm not. Hang on. Okay, so I signed back in. Here we go. So
Opera's
it says,
Twitter page is hilarious, by the way.
well, to the surprise of literally no one, Fantastic has now announced the day before it's going to shut down alongside the developers in January 22nd. So the news was announced via a statement on the official Twitter page for the day before, which confirms the closure of Fantastic and notes that the servers for the game will be retired as servers are taken offline. It also reiterates that refunds for the game are being provided by the company's investor, Mytona, but that anyone who hasn't received one yet will soon be able to get their money back through Steam. We regret to inform you that the development of the company Fantastic officially ceased operations, and as a result, the day before will be retired on the servers, will be shut off on the 22nd of January, 2024. The statement continues, we extend our gratitude for the community's support throughout the project's life. Unfortunately, without a development team, we had no alternative choice but to officially close the project. Now, their development team was fucking unpaid volunteers.
What?
Yes. That was the other thing. Their development team wasn't a real development team. It was just unpaid volunteers. On top of that, someone actually went and looked at all the assets that they used for the game, totaled up to a couple $100. So that's all it was a money grabbing asset flip. That's all it was.
Wow.
We sincerely thank all of our supporters throughout this journey, and we wish you all a happy holiday season. Fuck you.
Yeah, suck my dick.
In a full year of development layoffs, the studio closure, seeing another game get shut down so soon after its launch isn't a cause for celebration, but most players don't seem to be that bothered by the day before shutting down, as the comments are full of players calling it a scam and saying that the game is like that one annoying guy at a party who won't leave and keeps making excuses to come back.
I didn't like that comparison. I feel like they could have done better.
They really could have done better. But if you kind of look at this, like if you go to this is the day before dev wipes YouTube channel, shit happens. As players demand refunds, the day before devs delete YouTube videos and say shit happens. So the day before is finally here and it's not great. Going by the critic and audience reviews, the first day that this game came out, the reviews were overwhelmingly negative on Steam. within hours of it coming out. That means despite being an MMO, it will have no patches or content updates. Safe to say there has been a lot of backlash over the last 24 hours. This was when the game came out. Responding to the controversy, Fantastic simply said, "This was our first big experience. Shit happens." But less publicly, it has been wiping the slate clean, deleting every single video from its YouTube channel. The day before has failed financially, and we lack the funds to continue. All income received is being used to pay off debts to our partners. That was their statement when they announced that they were shutting down.
You ever heard of Firefest?
Yeah. This
is like the Firefest for video games.
Yes. Where you could once watch day before trailers and footage, now there's an empty wall with the message, "This channel doesn't have any content." This description has also been updated to say, "We're grateful to everyone who supported us during these difficult years. It's been a fantastic journey." The community doesn't share that sentiment with Day Before, garnering the overwhelmingly negative Steam score as users demand refunds, flooding Fantastic's comments on social media with accusations of scamming and false advertisement. So YouTube isn't the only place Fantastic has been cleaning house. Its TikTok is empty, again reading no content. Its Instagram and Facebook accounts simply do not exist. Trying to open them results in a "sorry, this page isn't available" error. And the website is completely empty, displaying only the apology letter and also shared on Twitter, along with a message about working with Steam to allow refunds. Fantastic not only closed down, but it's also wiping itself from the face of the internet. The last crumbs of its existence can only be found on Twitter and Steam, with every other social media account being stripped bare. And also Steam delisted the game. You can't even buy it. Within days, within the week, it was removed.
I don't know how many people bought it.
A lot. It earned like millions on its
Wow.
second. Yeah. Of course, you could peer into the recent past of the Wayback Machine, uncovering the lost library of videos. Clips such as Life at Fantastic, the Day Before's 10-minute gameplay trailer, dev vlogs, and the culture of volunteering at Fantastic can still be found through archive pages. YouTuber The Act Man, who first highlighted Fantastic wiping its YouTube, is going as far as to catalog all of it. So while Fantastic is scrubbing the internet clean, others are already at work on making sure it's available for all to see. Things on the internet are not gone forever, boys.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny because it's like this will go down in history as one of the wildest fucking stories in gaming. Like how they
Firefest of games.
It literally is the Firefest of games. Like it's like you promise one thing, deliver a completely different thing, and then just like I don't know. It's weird. It's
Speaking of Steam, though.
Yeah, speaking of Steam, this is a very odd topic. Valve warns users about huffing Steam Deck fumes. Valve is telling Steam Deck owners not to inhale the system's exhaust fumes, which is a fucking weird thing to say about a handheld gaming console, in light of unusual memes circulating around the internet. I'm curious about this meme.
Yeah, it's literally all about, it's because of the meme that it's gotten so ridiculous that Valve was like, we should probably say something about this.
So Valve is advising Steam Deck owners not to intentionally inhale the device's exhaust fumes in the wake of a bizarre meme popping up on social media. The Steam Deck was launched in February as a competitor to portable gaming systems like the Nintendo Switch, with its main appeal being the ability for players to take an entire Steam library of PC games with them on the go. Earlier this year, Valve announced an upgraded model in the form of a Steam Deck OLED, which features a larger video screen, enhanced storage option, and improved battery life.
Damn, wish I had it.
The portability of I heard it's pretty good. The portability of a wide range of available games aren't the only aspects of Valve's handheld that gamers have taken an interest in, as there has been a strange meme circulating in the internet as far back as the Steam Deck's release about the exhaust fumes emanating from the vents on top of the console. According to the people sharing this meme, its exhaust has an oddly satisfying scent that has been compared to the inside of an old Blockbuster video store. What? This in turn has led to jokes and apparent confessions from Steam Deck owners about deliberately smelling these exhaust fumes. Is this fucking true?
Yes, it is. And I know what they're talking about because I've done it myself. I've been like, that's strange. because you can feel the hot air, and I don't know what about ingrained in your brain that's just like, let me smell it. Maybe it's a male thing.
Does
I think
it
it's a guy
smell like
thing.
a Blockbuster video?
It's an interesting description. That's not what I would have thought of. I just thought it smelled weird for hot air. It's almost like it's like a hot plastic thing almost, or like you can feel the whir, and it's letting off the hot air, so it doesn't smell the same. Obviously, the Blockbuster store thing is funny though. But it's a real thing, because I remember because you can feel it with your hand because it's so loud. You feel it and you're like, wow, the system's really fucking working. And then something in your brain is like, and then I just went back to playing.
People huffing their fucking Steam Deck. It seems that Valve itself is aware of the Steam Deck's ongoing exhaust smelling trend and has recently sent out a message telling users to stop. Redditor Metapod100 asked the Steam support page about any negative effects of sniffing Steam Deck exhaust. That's such a weird, and was met with a lengthy response post about the potential dangers of inhaling fumes from electrical devices. This is going to be Tide Pod vibes. The support message notes that there are currently no safety concerns regarding the use of the Steam Deck, but players should exercise caution and good judgment all the same. And it says, I asked Valve about sniffing the vent, and it says, is it safe to inhale the exhaust fumes? God damn it. I did not want to open the whole Reddit page. So is it safe to inhale the exhaust fumes from the top vent of the Steam Deck? It's somewhat of a meme to enjoy the fumes, but I think I kind of like it. Hello. Thank you for contacting Steam support. As with all electronics, it's generally not recommended you inhale the exhaust fumes on your device. While there are no safety concerns with general usage, directly inhaling the device's vent fumes should be avoided. We understand that it may be a meme, but please refrain from this behavior for the safety of your health. Steam support, Sandler. So this guy shared a screenshot of Valve's response where they were met with replies from other Reddit users comparing people smelling the Steam Deck's exhaust fumes with another strange trend of Nintendo Switch owners licking their game cartridges.
I didn't know about that one.
And tasting
I only have digital games.
Oh wait, and Switch. Tasting the bitter denatonium benzoate coating that is used to prevent the cards from being swallowed. Another Reddit. Dude, what are people doing? Another Reddit
We're preventing fucking natural selection. That's what this is, because we've prevented natural selection so much that this is what we've become. This is what we've gotten to.
In other Reddit threads, users have noted that the smell of the Steam Deck fumes reminds them of playing video games as children, and that the scent seems to disappear after several months. Okay.
It's like that new car smell that, like, I think it's just because the new console and it's like heating up. So something with that, they're smelling it. Or like, I think it's just because it's blowing. It's blowing and they're able to smell it from the inside. I don't know. But like a new car smell will be there for a while and then it just goes away and it's just not there anymore.
So listen to this. Whether it's apparent trend of gamers inhaling exhaust in their Steam Deck systems as an internet joke or in the vein of the Tide Pod challenge of 2018 or something people are actually doing, Valve is advising users against this. While there haven't been any reports of Steam Deck owners suffering health problems from huffing the system's fumes, everyone should be advised that doing so may lead to serious respiratory issues. Like I said, this is giving me Tide Pod vibes,
But the Tide Pod thing is actually dangerous.
Yeah, so is probably inhaling heated electronic fumes.
Not nearly as much as eating a Tide Pod.
Maybe not as much as eating a chemical, but it's still like, it's like, don't breathe. It's like, will it blend? Don't breathe this.
Will it blend? I remember that.
Yeah, you remember Will It Blend when he would blend electronics to see if it would actually blend, and then he would follow up with like, "Don't breathe this," because there'd be like smoke coming out of the fucking blender.
I watched him and that guy with the glasses, and like his movie reviews and bum reviews or whatever.
Bum reviews, like bum fights.
No, bum reviews. Like he would be a homeless. He would be like a homeless person reviewing a movie.
Okay.
Change. You got change. He had his own website. It was back before YouTube was really like the main place for videos, and you had like Ebum's World, you had Newgrounds. YouTube was one of them. This guy had his own website.
Well, in light of that, don't breathe the fumes of your fucking Steam Deck, you weirdos.
Marines,
Smells
we're
like
looking at you.
Blockbuster Video in the 90s.
Crane Eaters, we're talking to you.
Yeah. Regiment in this podcast is also partnered with BR Paradox. BR Paradox is a company that specializes in custom-built PCs. So if you have an idea for a cool custom-built PC, they can definitely give you the hookup on that. But if you're not in the market for custom PCs, BR Paradox has a wide array of pre-built PCs that you could choose from at great prices. And if you're not in the market right now for a new PC, BR Paradox will definitely hook you up with an optimization. Optimizations take around 10-15 minutes to do, and they're very awesome. I highly recommend them. I had my PC optimized by them, and it's never run smoother since. BR Paradox also has a list of renowned customers ranging from LeBron James, Chris Brown, members of FaZe Clan, and even Angela White from your favorite orange and black site, if you know what I mean. So head on over to brparadox.com to get yourself a PC today or an optimization. And remember to use promo code REGIMENT at checkout. That's promo code REGIMENT down here at checkout. And now we're going to be talking to the Navy. Sorry, Navy. So
if you're under 8 years, we'll say.
Okay, so let's see.
Well, 6 years. But
so
if you're under 6 years of service.
This little document right here talks about how. So it says background. As outlined in references A through D, all sailors incur an 8-year MSO, which I'm sure is like their
military service obligation.
And any portion of that is not completed on active duty or active duty for training must be completed in the reserve component. As directed in reference, all new enlistment and commission contracts executed on or after 1 October 2020 for sailors under a 4-year active duty service obligation were written to include a minimum of 4 years active duty, followed up by 2 years of SLRES service, which is reserve.
SLRES, yes.
And 2 years of individual ready reserve, IRR service, to reach a required 8 years total. Policy. Any sailor who entered in service contract on or after October 1st, 2020, who is separating from active duty with less than 6 years time in service, is subject to required CELRES service as determined by the needs of the Navy. So you don't have a choice of what reserve unit you go to, correct? Is that what
No, you can still pick like your reserve station wherever you're trying to like go to, but you have to do reserves.
Got it.
There's a bit of a caveat. So it's not for every job. So there are some jobs that this doesn't apply to. But it's not a lot.
Let's see. Where was I? The amount of time required in the CELRES is equal to 6 years minus the amount of active duty service. E.g., sailors who separate with 4 years and 6 months of active duty service may be required to serve 1 year and 6 months in the CELRES. After completion of 6 years, TIS, sailors may then be transitioned to the IRR to serve the remainder of their MSO. Sailors transitioning from active duty to the CELRES are granted a 2-year deferment from involuntary mobilization. A, for enlisted,
means they can't be sent on a deployment right away.
A, for enlisted sailors required to transition to CELRES at the end of active obligated service or soft end of active obligated service, CELRES quota requests will be automatically generated in the career waypoints system for education by reserve community managers based upon the needs of the Navy. The quotes will be generated monthly from T10 months to T4 months to the sailor's EOS or CEOS to determine if the CELRES service will be required. All members with an approved quota will be contacted by the PERS 9 Reserve Processing and Affiliation Center regarding their CELRES affiliation. 1. Sailors whose rating is not available in the selective reserve are not required to affiliate with CELRES and may transition directly into the IRR. If a sailor is in this category desires to affiliate with CELRES, they may request a rating conversion to the available rating. Sailors with more than 6 years TIS are still encouraged to affiliate with the CELRES. Okay. Okay. Sailors with more than 6 years are encouraged to be in the reserves, but are not required to do so. Got it. Command career counselors shall ensure that sailors influenced by this policy are counseled and the earliest opportunity or during scheduled career development boards and their future service options. Potential CELRES obligations, benefits, and entitlements. B, for officers the commanding officer or executive officer shall counsel the resigning officer on the potential for required CELRES service. Upon approval, their resignation by Purse 45, all officers will be contacted by the Navy Recruiting Reserve Command outreach team regarding their CELRES affiliation. So if you are getting out and you only did 4 years, guess what? You got to do another 2 in the reserves. You don't have a fucking choice. If you did your 6, you don't have to, but they would strongly encourage you to.
We would like you to.
We'd like you to. You don't have to, though. Like, that is crazy to me.
What blows my mind is, like, think about that. So it's truly fucking over the people that are right now. So, like, they're
at the end of their
less
4 years.
than a year. Yeah, they're like at the end of their 4 years. They're probably doing their transition out stuff. So they're doing their medical requirements.
Yep.
They're doing like their TAPS
They're
classes.
They're clearing.
They're doing all the shit that you got to do before you fucking get out. And then this comes out and they're like, excuse me? I was supposed to go to college and have all that lined up. Now I got to do fucking reserves? The fuck?
Yep. And
fucking
now
insane.
And they can't and this is also like after like how long until the Army does shit like this? You know, they already
it's
just
not gonna take long. It's
not at
gonna take
all.
long.
I mean, look at what they just did with these fucking with like any of these NCOs, like mandating that they go to fucking be recruiting into recruiting commands and shit, go be recruiters and stuff. And then they're talking about we're having a hard time recruiting people. We can't figure out why we can't recruit people and why people won't stay in. It's because you do shit like this. No one's going to want to fucking enlist if they find out if I don't do 6 years, I'm stuck with 2 extra years of fucking reserve duty anyway. You know, I can't just do my 4 and leave. I have to do my 4 and then 2 reserve years, or I just do 6 years active duty and then like hope I don't get called back on IRR. That's fucking crazy to me. You know, and to be told at the end of your 4-year contract that you have to do this, dude, I will not be surprised if sailors start fucking committing suicide. And I'm not saying that as a joke. Like the mental health is going to go south fast with that because it's like, like
it's literally affecting their lives.
It is affecting their lives. Like you said, I plan on going to college. Now I got to put that on fucking hold. I mean, you don't have to put it on hold.
You know, they'll still be like, well, it's only reserves. We all know fucking reserves is more than the 2 weeks or 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year. Yeah. Every reservist will fucking tell you they've had to do more than just that 1 weekend a month.
Like even in the National Guard, my 1 weekend a month was not a Saturday, Sunday. It was a Thursday through Sunday every month.
Yeah,
and
and you still got to do more shit outside of that time to make sure that you're good to go.
Yes.
Even during that fucking weekend.
Yes. And it was and it always like every weekend that we did in that month, it wasn't just hey, we're at the armory. Like we probably were at the armory 2 or 3 of the months out of the whole year. We were off in training doing like every time that we had our weekend, it was a 4-day weekend and we had training off in the field during that. So we had field rotations for that whole weekend, even though it was only 4 days. Every time that we did this, it would be 4 days in the fucking field. These weren't normal, like, you know, and then my jobs were like, I thought you were in the Guard. This is only supposed to be like a 2-day weekend. I'm like, it's not in this unit. Yeah.
So, and the thing is, like, jobs know that they're not allowed to legally do anything regarding that, but they'll find other fucking ways to screw you.
And
they'll be like, oh, we got to deal with this. They're going to cut your hours. They're going to do some shit to where they don't really have
not
to deal
directly
with it
say it either, too. So
exactly,
there's that whole component about it too. So it's like, and then, you know, these people are trying to start their careers and stuff, and now this is going to hinder that. And it's wild that the Navy wants to do this kind of shit. And I know the Army's going to follow suit with this too. The Air Force probably not, but like,
yeah, they're like the only branch.
The only branch.
We got our people.
We got no problem. We're so picky and choosy, but like
it's crazy what treating your fucking airmen and people will do. It's like people want to stick around. It's fucking mind-boggling, isn't it?
Right. This is just, when does
it's so crazy. Like what people, it's like companies in the civilian world, they see a company like, say, Google. Like Google is a phenomenal company to work for. And they're also, from what I've been heard from a lot of people that work at Google, they all love it. And I think they're one of the companies that did the experimentation of the 4-day work week, and it worked fully benefit. Now, granted, all industries can't do that, but it was beneficial, right?
Yeah.
So companies will see that other companies that treat their fucking people well, give them like hell a 4-day work week if they're able to, and they're like, wow, they have great productivity, great profits, and their people are not leaving and they're actually happy, or they're happier with a lower salary, because you're more likely to be happy with lower pay if your job life doesn't fucking suck too.
If your work-life balance is good, people will say. And work-life balance in the military doesn't fucking exist. Like, it really doesn't.
Exactly.
And you're going to force these fucking poor bastards to do an additional 2 years of service that they don't want to do. And
So
you're,
if you're
and,
getting
and you're
treated like
telling
shit,
them
too?
now about it. You're telling them at the end, like you're moving the finish line on them.
Like, they have 9 months. They're pregnant with the end of their contract.
Right. Their contract is damn near over, and you're telling them now at the end, guess what? You got to do another 2 years.
And then look at the date of when this came out. This came out December. No, wait, no, that's
This came out December
the date.
20.
No, that's the year. That's the year. I think it came out like 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah, it came
But
out.
regardless,
But still,
like,
it came out this month.
Christmas!
Merry Christmas. Guess what? You have to do 2 extra years if you're only doing a 4-year contract.
So it came out this month, but like the date that it came out was like 2 or 3 days ago.
And this goes back to my whole argument of like, the military will do everything they can except to try to quote unquote fix the retention and recruiting problem, except what the actual issues are. They'll fix what isn't the issue. They'll fix anything but the issue.
And what they do is just going to make the issue worse.
And then ask, why is it worse? They're going to be like,
if you think about it, so they also dropped this while half the military is on palm leave. Like, they're on the holiday mass exodus period. So like half the people, if they're not deployed, are on leave.
I wonder how many people are going to go AWOL now.
So like half these people aren't going to get word regardless. And then the people that pass the fucking word are highly potentially on leave as well. So people aren't getting this news until probably January, when everyone has returned.
Or if they're, keeping up with it, they find out while they're on leave.
Well,
which would ruin your fucking leave.
If you follow military like news or like people like angry cops, etc., like you're gonna find out about it. But if you're
did angry
one
cops
of the people
talk
where
about this yet?
No, but Nikki MGTV did. I'm sure angry cops will.
Oh, I'm sure he will.
This.
He's gonna be like, he's gonna talk about like, you're really gonna make these guys do 2 additional years mandatory, despite the fact that they are literally about to get out.
Like, it's fucking mind blowing.
It's
so unless you follow people like that and different like meme pages or whatever, you're not gonna know.
Nope, you're not gonna know. Fucking crazy.
And then if you're on the army if you're on an army base or an Air Force base, you can't even fucking drink your sorrows away.
No, you can't fucking drink the sorrow. Well, then it's not like they have to, but if the army were to do something like this and then top that off with the whole, guess what, guys? The shopette's not going to serve alcohol after 10 p.m., which that fucking blows. So, yeah, so no more late night beer runs. AFEs to end overnight alcohol sales in 2024. I mean, my shopette closed at a certain time anyway, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, which I think that might be coupled with, because I haven't been to a smaller base that has had a 24-hour, unless it's like maybe a gas station.
My smaller base, my shopette did not have a 24-hour shopette. I mean, it was open till midnight. You could buy booze then, but
most of the ones that I've closed, even on the Air Force base in Illinois that I was at, it closed at like 10 o'clock.
And here's the thing. So like all this is going to do is like fucking airmen and soldiers are just going to go off post to get their alcohol.
True.
I mean, it's like, you're okay. You doing this isn't going to solve the problem. It's just going to make another problem, because people are going to go off base to get their booze, and they're still going to get it. So it says New Year's Eve is often celebrated with friends, songs, and drinks. But as soon as the clock strikes midnight in 2024, anyone celebrating on an Army or Air Force base will have to make do with just friends and songs for a few extra hours. Beginning January 1st, What a day to begin that. Buying booze will be off limits until the morning. Starting on 2024, AAFES, which runs hundreds of retail outlets and Air Force and Army bases worldwide, will cut the hours it sells alcohol at all of its stores. Beer, wine, and spirits will only be sold between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. That's weird. 6 a.m.?
That's probably when it opens.
At all base exchanges, shop bets, express shops, Class 6, and other stores run by AAFES. Officials say the goal of the change isn't punishing for troops or even aimed at reducing bad behavior. Liar. Rather, the move is part of a Pentagon-wide effort to implement recommendations made last summer by the Suicide Prevention and Response Independent Review Committee. The changes will alter the availability of alcohol at about 160 locations worldwide, said Chris Ward, Senior Public Affairs Manager of AAFES. Consistent with the Department of Defense Suicide Prevention and Response Independent Review Committee's recommendations, and Army and Air Force Exchange Services is aligned with the times alcohol can be sold to be consistent with that of the DoD's other military exchanges. Ward told Task and Purpose in an email the change affects 161 Express Class 6 and main exchange stores worldwide. The changes, said Ward, will mostly hit smaller outlets like base shopettes, gas stations, or express locations, which stay open later than most large stores like the main exchange locations. A quick check by Task and Purpose at Fort Liberty, Fort Bragg, or Fort Moore on the AAFES store locator site found that most of the AAFES locations on those bases close by 8 p.m. But each base has a smaller location that stays open past midnight, at least on weekends. Those stores and others like them around the world will still be open after 10, Ward said, but alcohol won't be for sale. The changes will not affect Navy or Marine Corps bases, of course not, where booze is already sold during controlled hours. Officials with Naval Exchange Command told Task Purpose that the all NEX stores and Navy bases worldwide have sold alcohol between 6 and 10 p.m., 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. since 2013.
Know that.
A spokesperson of the MCX, which operates retail outlets on Marine Corps installations, said that all their locations also fall under the NEX rules. New alcohol policies come after major Pentagon report on suicide prevention found that alcoholics' access was a contributing factor to suicide risk. The Suicide Prevention and Response Independent Review Committee, or the RIRC.
That's a terrible fucking acronym.
The SPRIC. The SPRIC studied suicide across the military in 2023, releasing a report in July that 76 recommendations for lifestyle and policy changes across the DoD.
I wonder what other fucking recommendations have actually been implemented, though.
I don't know. The report cited research that 1 of every 3 people who die by suicide in the U.S. is later found to have been acutely intoxicated. The report also found that 1/3 of service members report binge drinking in the past month, and 10% report heavy drinking or binge drinking at least once per week in the past month.
Because we're trying to drink our sorrows away because our life sucks.
Here's the thing. This is, again, trying to fix the problem where the problem doesn't exist.
Yeah,
Got it.
They're fixing the outlet to the problem.
Right. So yes, does alcohol contribute to these? Yes. However,
is it the problem?
No. Is it why this is happening? No. It's basically what alcohol really is when it comes to somebody that like thinking about taking their own life, is it takes the ability to reason away from them.
Yeah, but it's the escape. That's what it is.
It's the escape in the logical thought process of maybe I shouldn't do this. With alcohol, do you think you could fight God? You know, of course you're going to think, you know what? This won't be so bad. Let's do it. You know, like, I got it. The alcohol is contributing when it comes to that thought process. However, the incidents that are leading to that thought process, granted, I understand PTSD, like with combat vets and stuff, is different than actually all the bullshit involved with the military. But the bullshit of the military is also what's causing this too.
Especially nowadays.
Think about
we're not really in combat right now.
Think about how many troops take their own life in an operational environment where there isn't alcohol.
It's very few, actually.
Is it
the
few?
Studies have shown, yes. So the studies have shown that we kill ourselves more at home than we do from combat or during combat. It's because of that trauma bonding. When you're over there, you're with your people.
I understand.
You have that connection. You've got that fucking support.
You're all going through the same shit at the same time.
Exactly.
And then when you're at
and
home,
those,
and
it's
you
the
don't
same
have
way
that.
when you're with like operational units or a good unit, you have that bond, you have that support. You're not really probably drinking unless it's socially, like you guys are having a good time. But when shit sucks, they're going to be drinking more. It's when they have that lack of support, that lack of camaraderie.
Yeah. This is an interesting thing. The Pentagon's 2022 annual report on suicide in the military also found that 45% of the military members who died by suicide that year had been diagnosed with a behavioral health disorder, which includes alcohol abuse. Reducing hours of alcohol sales was one of the several SPRIRC recommendations on alcohol policies, and others include banning the promotion of alcohol on military property, including in-store displays, establishing full-time sobriety programs for those who are arrested for alcohol-related offenses, and increasing the price of alcohol on military bases. According to Ward, alcohol makes up just for 7% of the AFI sales across all of its stores, with less than 1% of that alcohol sold during the soon-to-be-dropped overnight hours.
So increasing the price just means I'm not going to buy
Well, here's the
at their
thing.
store.
Less than 1% of the alcohol sold during those soon-to-be-dropped hours, right? So less than 1% of the alcohol bought from AFIs was bought during those hours. So what are you really
Yeah, what are you
helping
really
with?
preventing?
What are you preventing there? Like, that's the other thing. This is like Band-Aid for the big problem, right? So it's like them doing that solves nothing. Like, okay, so like it's a marginal amount of alcohol purchased during those hours, but you're going to get rid of those hours. Okay. That's a marginal amount of alcohol bought during those hours. So what the fuck are you fixing?
Yeah, you're still selling 6.9% or something, or 6.1% at the very least.
6.9111% of your sales are during the other hours, right? And I do also find 6 a.m. is really early to be buying that.
Well, they're saying that it's available for sale, meaning that you can purchase it when the store opens. Not saying that like specifically you can buy it.
So if they really want to mitigate that, make the sale available at 6 p.m. or something like, or 5 p.m. I don't
think that's really going to change much because most people that are buying alcohol are during that time anyways. Yeah. That's also when they're at work or it's when they're off of work. It's not like when the workday's fucking starting.
I know. I don't know. I just feel like that they're trying to fucking solve a problem in places where the problem doesn't exist. I mean, it exists, 100%. But like you're looking for a fix in places that aren't the place to be fixing. And that needs to change.
But when they're looking for things, they're not finding prostitutes.
No, sure. I guess not. Soldiers say a prostitute was found living in the barracks on post. Now, before I get farther into this.
Barracks bunny.
Well, let's see where this goes. This could go many ways. U.S. Army installation in Hawaii is the subject of a lot of internet buzz, memes, and rumors after a prostitute was allegedly found squatting in a room at Schofield Barracks.
What were you going to say before we started?
That nobody brought her in. She snuck in. Or that these barracks were she was homeless.
Onto base? Yeah. Oh, just like a squatter.
Like a squatter. The alleged incident was leaked by several military-related social media pages, including Terminal Siwo. It is apparently a woman, the account relayed. She was being paid to stay there and have sex, according to some of my soldiers that are living in the building. Okay, so this is the way that I was hoping it would go. Crazy kids and your barracks hookers, the account added. The message served as a caption for a screenshot of a message discussing the matter. I apologize for the early text, but something came up late last night, the message began. There was a homeless person found living in an unlocked room in building 778. CSM Dobbs is going through that building this morning at 0630. Have your soldiers who live in that building standing by their rooms instead of reporting to formation.
So it's both. So they were homeless,
but they were paying her to be there.
Well, she was having sex with them for money, but also homeless.
I like this. The barracks managers will be there to open any rooms if soldiers are not present and make sure that nothing gets stolen. By who? Sergeant Major?
I think it's a legality thing.
Others in the comment section reported that the female was a prior active duty soldier and had been squatting in the barracks for 5 days prior to her being discovered.
So she is a barracks bunny, literally.
Literally. Let's see. Even if she was, they should have taken her cat card when she was separated, which they don't really do. One user wrote, the question remains, how did she get on base? That's probably a question for the dudes that she was banging. Another replied. If she was smart, she'd just marry some dude and they could both get BAH, basic allowance for housing. Why did they tell us what that is?
Yeah, I don't know.
To live off base. Another chimed in. Problem solved. Fair point. Terminal Gunny, another social media account, also had something to say on the matter. I'm over here trying to get rid of Field Day, and you guys are pulling this shit on me, he joked. At least the hooker wasn't dead, right? Another user quipped. Yeah, that's also a fair point. Great point, actually, Terminal Guy replied in jest. We really saved ourselves from a PR nightmare here. Popular Military reached out to U.S. Army Garrison Hawaii officials for clarification, but they obviously were not available to comment. I want more context to this so much.
I want so much more. If you're stationed in Hawaii, let us know more about this.
I got it.
We would love to know.
I need to know more. I need to know. Let's see. Yeah, like, so there was a hooker living in the barracks, and what it said, let's say, found squad in the room. Where did it say she was being? One account relates she was being paid to stay there and have sex, according to some of my soldiers that live in the building. I need to find out more. Hang on. Hooker found living.
You're gonna find so many more articles with that fucking context.
You know what? Before I actually search this, living in Army barracks, I'm gonna not show the fucking articles here. Of course, Reddit. Are barracks bunny is a real thing? Yes, they are.
I've actually had someone ask that, like, what is a barracks bunny? And I had to explain it to them.
That is the only article about this.
My doc, actually, it was my doc. My doc on deployment. We were talking about barracks bunnies, and she looked at me and she's like, "What is a barracks bunny?" Because she's brand new to the military. Like she went to psychiatry school, medical school, became a psychiatrist. Now she's here, and she's like, "What's a barracks bunny?" I was like, "A woman that makes her way around the barracks." If you understand what I'm saying, ma'am. And she's like, "Oh." Understood.
Yeah, it's always funny to explain what a barracks bunny is. I remember my old battalion sergeant major's daughter was the barracks bunny while everyone was deployed.
It's always the sergeant major's daughter.
It's always the sergeant major's daughter. Like, he sent her away during deployment. Like, he came,
and they're always the hottest ones.
No, not always. Not always.
not always.
Not always. Yeah, there was a fucking, like, both of our sergeant majors had daughters. So, like, we had one that the other one was really fucking not cool because she was still in high school.
Oh Lord.
Not the other one, the one that was on deployment, the one that took over after him, right? So the thing is, thank God our guys were wise enough to avoid this chick, because she was trying.
Oh, she's one of those that would, like, lie about her age and shit.
But everybody knew. Yeah, kind of. So, but like, everybody knew that she was still in high school. She was a junior in high school, and she was trying to, like, flirt with soldiers and stuff. And they're like, get the fuck away from me.
Yo, so one of my boys, back when we were in San Diego, he actually almost got in trouble because, so this girl that he met on Plenty of Fish, one of the apps, like the older apps, but like way before Tinder and all that. Like, basically it was OkCupid and Plenty of Fish were the main two free ones, right? And you have to be 18 to sign up for an account there. Like, you agree to, it says that you're 18. And he never, like, he went on one date with her, like, he brought her back. She was just one of those girls. And she never had her ID on her, because on the naval bases, if you're driving, they only ask for your ID. They don't give a shit about the other person because they're with you.
That's weird.
Yeah. So he never saw her ID. He never had anything. Apparently she didn't have it with her anyways. But these things happened when we were at the apartment, and we had a pool at our apartment on base. It was like civilian contracted, and there was a pool at the top. We go out drinking. They had like a fight or whatever, or some minuscule argument, and she went upstairs and she had essentially left with other guys at the pool, right? And we're like, the fuck? And then we end up getting a call from her that like she got drugged. We think that she got drugged by the guys up there, or she might have had something herself. We're not really sure, but she ended up coming down. She was not the same, and she became like super suicidal. She was like very fucked up.
Jesus Christ!
And she had like a knife. She had like a pocket knife that we had to like damn near fight her to get. We had to get it from her, so we had to call base security to like come and get her. And then like 2 hours down the road, we hear like PMO on our fucking door, and we find out that she was underage because they had to do like the background check when they passed her over to civilian authorities.
Like
and
below 18 underage?
Like she was like 17, I think.
Jesus Christ.
And we're like, excuse me? And we had like, I had to write a statement for this motherfucker because I was quote unquote involved because I was like a third party.
You had to write a statement on his behalf essentially to prove that he didn't do anything.
Yeah. So like so they could line up all the events and see if he was bullshitting or not, to make sure he wasn't just fucking lying. And I was like, they met on the app. Like he came through base. We went to the pool, all this stuff. We told him like she left. She ended up coming back, the knife situation. And I was like, I've never met her, and I've never met her before today. And he met her on the app, and she didn't have her ID that day. Like the police knew that. Like that was why like they ended up coming back afterwards, because they had to do like the background thing. And I guess she was an orphan too, so she lived at like a foster place.
Yeah.
And so this whole rigmarole, and he ended up getting off. Like he didn't. All the charges were dropped because he was found not guilty. Because obviously they met on the app. She didn't have her ID, so to his legitimate knowledge, he had no idea. But the whole process of it was fucking insane.
Yeah, this sounds insane. Like, fuck, dude. God.
And then they also tried to get him because we had left to go. We had like went to get groceries. We went to go like, get some snacks and all types of stuff. And because our apartments were on base, they tried to get him with leaving his like the person that he sponsored on base. Because like you're supposed to be required.
So what, they're just trying to nab him on anything at that point?
Yeah, I mean, we know how the military goes.
Yeah,
you can't get him on one thing, we're gonna get him on the other. And then they couldn't get him on that because it's not anymore, but it was civilian contracted property. So when we were in our apartments, when we were on that part of base, we were allowed to leave people there. Right.
Got it. Okay.
So like if they went anywhere else on base, we had to be with them, but we could leave them at the apartment and like go somewhere else. So he ended up getting that dropped. Like it was fucking crazy. I almost got in trouble until after my statement. The master at arms, he reads my statement. He was like, I was gonna read you your rights after this, but your story checks out, is well detailed. You're good to go. I was like,
finding out you were about to get in trouble.
I know. I was like, oh my God. I was gonna get my rights right. Excuse me?
Like, what the fuck you mean you're gonna read me my rights after this?
Because I was involved. Like guilty by association type shit.
I know. I fucking hate that guilty by association bullshit.
I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I wrote the detailed description. Because I was fresh out of psych school, and I was like, one, I'm not gonna fuck my boy over. Two, I'm gonna write this description, like the statement, like how I write mental health notes. I'm about to detail out every single fucking event, like line by line. I had like 3 pages of that fucking statement. And then till later on down the road, I found out that writing a statement is probably one of the worst things you can possibly do. But in this particular situation, it worked out.
Dude, and everyone asked me, like, why is it when you were in the Army, you, like, just didn't do anything? You didn't associate with too many people. You had, like, a handful of guys that you hung out with. And even then, you just never went anywhere. I'm like, because of shit like this. Like,
the guilty... They'll fuck you for just the guilty being there.
Just because you were in the fucking same air as they were.
Mhm.
Like you were also in trouble too. It's like I just stayed in my fucking room, went to the gym, played video games. So that way I couldn't have been associated with anybody.
Yep.
Like the only time that I could have gotten in trouble is when my fucking squad leader was getting chaptered out of the army because he pissed hot for cocaine, and apparently dude was doing coke in my barracks room.
Wow.
And I didn't know it. I only found out because my roommate told me, because my roommate was they made my soldier my roommate. And I stayed off base a lot. And he came to the barracks room. He was fucking hammered, and he just rolls out a bag of coke and starts doing coke on our fucking kitchen counter. And it was just like, dude, you gotta get the fuck out of here with that, because I'm gonna get in trouble for this shit with you. You know, and I was like, dude, I could have gotten in trouble, and I wasn't even fucking there. It was just in my room, you know?
Yep. But they'll be like, oh, you didn't do it?
Like, oh, you didn't, there's coke in your room. It's like, I haven't been here for like days. I come here during the day and I go home, I leave and go somewhere else.
That's the worst part about like anything that happens in a barracks room, it fucks the other person too. Like if anything happens with one of them.
Right. It fucks you both. So it was just like,
they're there.
yeah, because they're in the same room that you are supposed to be in, whether you were there or not.
Exactly. Oh, how didn't you know about it? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not attached to the fucking hip.
Right. Yeah. I think the only time that I never got in trouble when my roommate was doing something was like we came back from Ukraine. Was it Ukraine or was it Latvia? It was one of those Eastern fucking countries. We came back and we were told it was the way that they said it was weird. They said that like, hey, you know, see you tomorrow morning, or like see you tomorrow, late call. They said something about a late call, and then but it really wasn't a late call, which obviously they didn't really understand. They go out, get fucked up. I was part of some of us got a late call, some of us did not, and he was one of those that did not. So that morning during PT, he wasn't there. And it was like, where the fuck is he? And the dude had gone out the night before, and he was fucking hammered. The dude was passed out in the room. And I was like, I thought they had a late call. And one of the platoon sergeants was like, no, they don't have a late call. Some of the other ones have a late call. And I'm like, why would you say it like that then? Like, because these guys all thought they had a late call the next day, and they didn't.
What's a late call?
You don't have to come in that early in the morning. You can come in at like 9 instead of like 6:30 for PT. So if you get a late call, it's like you don't have to be at first formation. You just have to be at the start of business, essentially. That's the late call.
Oh, okay. Wow,
So,
y'all started business was at 9?
yeah, because we have PT and 6:30 in the morning, and then we have chow.
Damn. We had to start PT at like 4.
We didn't ever really do that.
Well, on the Marine
We did. We didn't.
The Navy's like, we're not doing this shit.
When you're overseas, it's different because there's an ordinance, the Italian ordinance for
gotcha.
noise ordinance and shit. So we had to have PT at 6:30 in the morning, only because the Italian apartments were literally next to base, overlooking our base. Like the only thing separating us was a fucking barbed wire fence. That's it. I'm not even shitting you. That's the Italians are right fucking there at all times. So like because of noise ordinance things, like we weren't allowed to do cadences, thank God. All that other stuff, like we couldn't do things until a certain time in the morning because the Italians lived there too. So
I guess that makes sense then.
But yeah.
Did you guys have barracks bunnies there?
Yeah, of course we did. But the thing is, the barracks bunnies often lived in the barracks too, because they themselves were soldiers. So they lived in the barracks. So it wasn't like, and they were very strict about people staying on base. Like you had to check them in. They had to go through a whole process when they came there, when they were visiting. And then when they left, like there was a certain time, and then like the fucking MPs and the Carbonari would go down the list of those. If there was nobody checked out, all right, who's the soldier that checked them in? Where do they stay? Guess what we're doing? So they had to check out by a certain time, and the fucking Italian Carbonari and the MPs were going down that list because that's where you checked them in at. You checked them in at the MP station.
Damn.
So like they had a list of who, and like they would go over at the end of the night. They go over the list to see who wasn't checked out yet, and then they would.
That's very efficient.
And they would show up to CQ and be like, "Hey, this soldier has a person checked in and they haven't left, or they have left and they just didn't sign them out."
So like through the gate,
right? So you would go into the gate, and there was a checkpoint. There was 2 checkpoints within the gate. There was the check your IDs, and if you had somebody that didn't have, like, you know, they were not military, you had to go to another fucking gate, which had like a booth and shit you had to go into where the MPs and the Carbonari were. Check them in through there. They were on a list and stuff. Take their ID, take photos of their ID and stuff.
Wow,
all that shit.
I mean, I guess that could probably only truly work at a smaller installation.
And it's a small installation.
I guess, yeah, that makes sense. A place like a regular stateside base, that could never work.
No, that was the other thing, because it was overseas too.
Which also makes more sense.
It being overseas, like there was a lot more checks and balances of when you let people in. So that's why when you told me they didn't check the IDs, I'm like, why the fuck not? And the fucking gate guards checking everybody ID. And if they think that you have somebody in the trunk, they are literally inspecting your car. They'll have one guy, when you're checking in, they have one dude with a mirror going under everybody's car. And then they take IDs from everybody in the car. Everyone.
Yeah, not states. So stateside, at least Navy bases. I don't think Marine Corps, but I think Marine Corps bases do the same. If the active duty person or military person is driving, they don't care about the other person's ID. The only place that I can say is different is Great Lakes, because it's a training command. They'll check everybody's fucking ID.
I was saying that's the only one I know I've been on besides Fort. Well, no, all the training bases are like that.
Yeah, so the Great Lakes and probably the other training bases. Well, not Fort Sam, that's for damn sure.
Nope.
But the other training bases, that's my experience. They'll check everybody's, which is annoying. Everywhere else I've been, it's just the driver. They don't give a shit about anybody else.
Yeah, any base I've been on, they check overseas for sure. They checked everybody's fucking ID,
which makes more sense because it's overseas. I actually got inspected. Like they were doing base drills and they're like pulling people aside, like randomly checking people. And this is the first time it's actually ever happened to me where I've gotten the random selection to like pull off to the side, fucking they do the whole check and everything. And that's because I was in the far lane. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm here early anyways. And I'd already got my new car at the time too. And I pull in, they do it's like when you get pulled over, you do license, registration, proof of insurance, boom. I open my dash, pull it out, give it to him, give my ID and everything, and they're going through the checks. He comes back, and because it's a brand new vehicle, it didn't pop up in like whatever they look up for Virginia for the vehicle registration and everything. So they had to do like a manual check and look deeper, like at the VIN number and everything. So I was there for a little bit longer. He comes up, he gives me all my stuff, and he's like, you're actually a lot more prepared than the last few people we've had in here. And I was like, but if you get pulled over, that's what they asked for regardless. What do you mean I was more prepared? I had the basic items necessary. So basically, people just rolling around, they ain't got all their documents and shit. Imagine.
I mean, that tracks. All right, let's wrap this up, homie.
Yeah,
so
it was a good episode.
Yeah,
when are we thinking of posting?
I'm probably gonna post it on Wednesday. So,
damn, we should post before Christmas. Give you like Merry Christmas, dude, Merry Crisis.
When would I edit it? I'm gonna be at a Bears game on tomorrow. I'm gonna be at a Bears game, and on Christmas Day, I'm gonna be with family. So I'm not gonna have time to edit it.
The Tuesday? I know. That's basically
Christmas is Monday.
Wednesday still means that Tuesday would make it to where Wednesday's the posting. You know what? Never mind.
Just trust the process. Anyway, guys, love y'all. Appreciate y'all for hanging out. We will
like the video,
subscribe, share with your friends, show us the love, comment below, and we will see you on the next episode of The Smoke Pit.
Put your favorite emoji in the comments.
Yes.
It helps the algorithm.
Yes. All right, later, guys. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Bye.